Okay, so it is July 8th. Happy Firecracker Day. And we're Independence Day. If you're into Independence Day movies or my online internet jokes like, I'm a pilot, I can fly. Okay, and so anyways, we're not here to have fun and show that we have senses of humor, according to the government. So we have to talk about serious issues that have impeded on my life for the past 42 years. We are out here at Wildflour Cafe or something in Agoura. Let me just, there we go. Brittany is now centered. Okay, Wildflour, I've never been here. We're out in Agoura now, so we did Camarillo, now we're out in Agoura. Never been here. The employees were very professional. One was nice with a smile, another one was very clammed up. Oh shit, Kevin's here, but she wasn't working on the provoking tactics like one thing weird, the weird cryptic repetitive things they do from place to place worldwide. As I got here, it was one red Sonata backwards, another red car showed up, parked by it backwards, then left. A black and blue came out, a second black and blue dude sat by the door, and as I walked in, he cracked his knuckles like this. One of the mimics, which they've been doing for 10 years since I cracked my knuckles once in an Encino Starbucks, and somehow cracking your knuckles is a crime and a threat to people. Doesn't make any sense, I know. Let's see, we have our notes, we're going to continue, and there's a few additions, but not like before, and hopefully we'll get to the Golden State Sports Medical Office information, which is very important. Now, walking to my car, a couple things happened. As I got to my car, there's a sign, there's spit on my car, on my Eclipse, today, yeah, close to where the sign was. And remember, Brittany, you saw, I'm trying to remember if I talked about this on camera. Last week there was spit on my Envoy, and then the guy at the cigar shop within that day or the day later, a third completely different person, spit in my face, trying to provoke me, set me up. That's all video, but I haven't fully edited it. I've edited the first part with El Pollo Loco and the guy claiming he's a gang stalker and then riling up the masses while trying to make me look crazy to silence me. And the guy, the cigar guy, talking me, saying, yeah, you know, if you guys keep calling me man from place to place, then clearly you are trying to cover something up. And then him getting mad and not wanting my cards and running out and trying to put them on my car and go, you know, whatever. I didn't stop him from putting them on my car. But I sort of held up the camera going, look, so as you can see, this guy didn't get what he wanted and this and that. Guy tries to cover it up saying, first he's confused, like, oh shit, the whole thing's on video. Then he comes out up to my window as I'm sort of starting to back up and he says, by the way, I have a DJ show, blah, 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 I'm DJ, whatever, and then I go, look, you know, you refuse to take my cards while my life's at stake here, and so this is going to be edited out, and something he says, I say, you know, I really don't give a shit, DJ dumbass, while I'm backing up, and he gets pissed, and he spits in my face as I'm backing up and leaving, showing that not only am I trying to force cards on people, that they're playing this reverse psychology game while trying to force the cards on me, when he could just pick them up and throw them away and go, this guy's an asshole or whatever. And after me giving him lots of cigar money, you know, and being really nice while walking and being harassed to death by him, and showing that the entire situation, like every other one, is people taking turns in anger and rage for some reason, and then trying to cover it up. Okay, so coming out of my car today, let me start with, also a cop car drove through here after I got here, and a cop car, while I was getting some McDonald's, instantly showed up, and the cop, there's another guy in a black Escalade parked backwards, kind of waiting and watching, probably waiting for me, and the cop got out of his car and he gave me a nod, like a friendly nod, and walked by. But in my life, just because someone gives you a friendly nod, what does that mean? Because if you can't directly talk about the situation, example, hey Kevin, we know what's going on, we're on your side, we're going to help you put a stop to it. Okay, now you know where these people stand, so what does that nod mean? I don't know, right? We're pretending to be your friend while trying to check you out, Dinse style, right? Okay, you don't know. Okay, so anyways, getting out of my car this morning, fix your fucking alarm with the 3 exclamation points. Now remember, in our previous Brittany has witnessed, everywhere we went, people honking their horns in 2s and 3s. This all starts I've sort of done the quick math around 2015, I believe. I walk out of my car at my house. I push the alarm horn. I don't know that it's armed. I push it again or something. Like, there were 2 beeps. And that instantly the next day goes worldwide. Every person that sees me. Some days upwards of 500 in a parking lot. Beep, 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 beep. And anywhere in the world I go. Now, today I come out, spit, and fix your alarm. So now, you're wondering what angle they're trying to play here. Well, I can sort of break it down. They're trying to play that Kevin is crazy and Kevin's schizo, and it's supposedly Kevin's alarm, freaking out wherever he goes, just constantly honking like beep, 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 beep.
Right.
Yeah, right. And you've witnessed it. The honkings, the strategic patterned honkings at every location we've been at, and in your office, all across, I mean, not the hugest circles, but from Calabasas, Woodland Hills to Camarillo, that's still a huge distance of, it's just 1 or 2 people and you're paranoid. No, it's not paranoid. Okay, so that was one thing. Let me look, I wrote a few quick notes here as well. On the way. Spit on car with not, I don't know what that means. Oh, the explanation of why they're spitting everywhere and spitting on my car. Remember, there's reasonings that don't make any sense behind all these freaky operations. I was going to say things, but they're really operations and tactics. Around 2001, I'm at Starbucks on Topanga and Ventura, and I spit on the ground. I can't remember why. You know, maybe I had something in my mouth, maybe it was from a cigarette, I don't know. After that, person after person, wherever I went, started spitting. They would walk by me and spit. I mean, I even have this one back girl coming out of PetSmart, and she's angry at me, and she spits in the trash can, and so I get a photo of it, and she was like a complete idiot with spit flying through the air coming out of her mouth, and this and that. And of course, they're bad, like, how dare you take a picture of this person? It's like, well, you know, don't follow me around attacking me with your spit tactics and this and that. And so I kind of test the water, so I spit on the ground around a few people to see how they react. And it gets worse and worse worldwide with the spit tactic. Now, remember when last week I think we were talking about Aubrey Fisher, I tapped my foot around her for 6 years. People worldwide following me to coffee shops or seeing me going like this, or going like this, or tapping their foot behind me in lines over and over for 6 years worldwide. I think 4 years with the spit tactic. The honking tactic. The spit tactic's on and off for something like 18 years. You get the idea how, the car's backwards, which is now worldwide for me parking backwards once in Encino Starbucks. And they're all running around with Mike Huntley going, it's your behavior. It's your behavior because you are trolling people because you parked your car backwards once. You're trolling people because you spit on the ground. You're trolling people because you tapped your foot by Aubrey Fisher. You're trolling people because you farted, you blinked, you yawned, you rested your feet on a chair. None of it makes sense, and so when we're talking about behavior, it's Mike Huntley, Tom Farley, Paul Humphrey, Aubrey Fisher, Brian Longbottom, you name it, 100,000 others that all befriended me, trying to rid me of the world, is their psychotic, murdering, hypersensitive behaviors, and not my behavior of witnessing what they're doing. So I just put like 3 bits this week, I don't know, whatever. Okay. No, go ahead. No, that's fine.
So when did that get physical? People started sitting actually on you or on you?
It was never too physical. I think this is the first spit contact. Does that make sense? Usually it's like the other ones. It's around you. Like, maybe you see 10 people walk by and spit.
Right.
They see you spit, and you're just spitting. Who knows why? It's not like I walk around spitting all day. It's a one-time thing. And they see me spit, and that's it. You've broken the imperfection law. Okay? I tapped my foot around Aubrey Fisher once, and she said, "Kevin, don't tap your foot." I was driving, and I wasn't paying attention. I tapped my foot, and she said, "Kevin, stop tapping your foot." No, sorry, whatever. And I'm driving her to her photo shoot the same hour, and I start tapping it, not paying attention. It's like I told you to stop. Oh, sorry, and that's it. You're in the magical Lord of the Ring troll section with your big old club in one eye or whatever, and you need to be killed by worldwide support. It doesn't make any sense because these are normal interpersonal communications. If it's such a bad thing for Aubrey Fisher, that was such a bad guy, Kevin will stop calling you.
Right.
Okay? Kevin will stop calling you and asking for favors. Okay? I'll myself calling you saying, Kevin, I want your technical support for my photography, even though you're a horrible monster and ruining my life. Okay, so none of these things make sense once you hear the real story. But the question nobody asks is, why is the fake story instantly going worldwide every single day of my life on some kind of secret fictional news channel? Propaganda. So what you're seeing is the spitting or the tapping isn't physically on you, but
it's getting to that point though, because that guy spit in your face.
correct. And so that's what happens is maybe after 18 years of watching 100 people a day spit in front of you, and you knowing what they're doing, and you going to the police, and the police lying that they're not doing anything wrong, and they're allowed to torture you until you die without physically touching you, even though it's strategic and coordinated with premeditation to kill someone in nature, which is the crime of all crimes. On the law books, it's the crime of all crimes. They just don't want to stop it for some reason. They're trying to get me to break. And so finally, like the cigar guy, I sort of do the same thing back to him. Now remember, I have to tolerate 100,000 to 1 million of these types of things per day. I haven't physically done anything to anyone, despite the fact that Dinse's writing up falsified police reports with Terrance Scroggins, or Bailey Bernard.
About you threatening?
I supposedly threatened and am a danger to Terrance Scroggins. I kind of did. I did threaten him, like, stay the fuck away from me or else. I mean, that was a, if you keep pursuing me, threat. But it wasn't a threat like I'm going to hunt you down and kill you. It's a threat like, you know, I'm trying to stay breathing and you need to stay the fuck away from me or else. Right. Okay, I was very aggressive. And I believe my words were, if you don't leave me the fuck alone, I'll cut you down or something. And before the threat, I don't even want to call it, it's not really a threat, before my statement and after my statement, Terrance Scroggins had run up to me endless times threatening me and demanding things and telling me that my property is his property. After my statement, stay the fuck away from me, working with Dinse and the police, if you understand where I'm going with this. Right? I'm going to keep hunting you. I'm going to keep stalking you because my father and the police want me to hurt someone, and then they want to leave the truth out of the situation to lock me away, forcing me in a us versus him situation. But at no point did they ever get what they wanted, despite what Dinse wrote. And if you order the police reports, you will see that Scroggins says on the stand that he was contacted by Dinse beforehand.
I know.
Okay? So they have no argument. Okay, so anyways, and then I have video recordings of flat-out confessions of these things. Dinse contacting people off his Facebook and things like this. So, okay, so the point is that these endless passive-aggressive things, not by one person, but by a planet of people, upwards of thousands per day at a coffee shop like this, has gone on 18 years, and the spitting on the ground. Remember, these are just, when I say tapping or spitting, there's thousands. The guy over there cracking his knuckles, people following me in the courtrooms, sitting behind me cracking the knuckles. All these things, all day and night, 24/7. Okay? So, anyways, the original point was, this is kind of like a thugging cover-up that Kevin's crazy and you don't talk or whatever. You don't know. What is the direct message? Who knows?
Your alarm's not broken, right?
No, but even if it were, how could it do what you've witnessed? But if your statement is that my alarm's sitting there going meh, 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 well, the car's right there, and the car's been in front of Brittany on multiple occasions, multiple times, and
that doesn't make sense.
And we'll check the video tonight, the car DVR video, and if when the guy's walking up, it's not blaring.
No, I've never heard your
Yeah, so
I don't understand that at all. So
well, it's like everything else. They're trying to cover up what they're doing, right? It's the same thing. We have worldwide campaigns to kill someone. How can we make them look crazy and then try to cover it up? And so this is like one of those little. Well, Kevin's crazy, and everywhere he goes, his car's making noise, and he thinks it's us. You know, that's their cover-up tactic. Because LAPD's statement was that I'm a violent paranoid schizo. I'm a violent paranoid schizo because I found out what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They tried to cover up saying I'm a violent paranoid schizo. And they're doing all these weird memory check things. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
Corinne T. Phillips on the stand was trying to prove that I had bad memory problems.
You have a really good memory, actually.
I think it's pretty fucked up now, but it's still
You remember
pretty damn good that I can remember the horrific All Day Night all the way back to 5 years old. So, you know, but it's not nearly as good as it was. It was like I was telling Brittany on the phone. In the mid-'90s, I could sing Bye Bye Miss American Pie lyrics out of my head, and that's like a 10-minute song, which is a great song. And breaking apart the lyrics is about Buddy Holly and the day the music died, Buddy Holly and crashing in the plane accident and all the lyrics. Whatever, I met a girl, she sang the blues, she gave me, it's been a long time. I met a girl, she sang the blues, I asked her for some happy news, she just smiled and turned away. All these things, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, the football field, whatever, all these things are talking about God and his death and how the king is dead. When he makes the Elvis references, he's really making kind of a split reference between Elvis and Buddy Holly, because Buddy Holly's kind of or actually it's been a long time, but he was sort of talking about the references, the king, Elvis, and Buddy Holly, they're all in the same era, and how, I don't know, you'd have to listen to the song, it's been a really long time for me, but whatever. Okay, so, what the hell were we talking about? Memory. Okay, so,
what's her name?
Corrine or Karen T. Phillips. So what she does on the stand is, they suppress the website and try to make me look crazy with the website. They don't want anyone knowing what's on my website. And I say on the stand, I say, well, she says something like, you expect these people to believe you from what you're saying. I said, well, you know, I said, for some reason all the proof is inadmissible as evidence, but it's all on the website. And so I guess you're just going to have faith. And he said, okay, you know, let's wrap it up and come back tomorrow, whatever. And then the next day I'm on the stand and she said, so you said this as we were leaving, and she switched it up like it was something else. I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, you're going to have faith that what's on my, or I should have continued, made it more specific and said, you're going to have faith as to what's on my website is true, but I said, you're going to have faith, showing that I don't have memory problems, although it does make me look a little crazy-ish. But in those situations, you have to explain every detail because they're trying to make you look like a crazy rambling idiot. That's their motive. And so, but she was doing like, she was trying to, is he all there? Does he flip out? Is he schizo? One of the the dog attack, when I called the cops, they were asking me, they wanted like verbatim specifics, which no one would normally ask.
Like what happened?
What happened, word for word, and weird things like that. You know, like, and I think you asked me something about my memory or whatever, you know.
I mean, you were bleeding, your pants were ripped, so you went to the...
Correct, and they're ignoring the actual physical attacks, trying to make me look crazy. You know, it's just, okay, so anyways, we're veering a little off here. Okay, so, oh, by the way, we're in Agoura, home of Ryan Golds, of lawyer Ryan Golds, my father's friend who went in and bought the lake house with my father and wanted to take me to the Lily Lake House, and in Victorville, hinting about Victoria Walker and Victor from like 5th grade and all these things, and what's his name? Ryan Gold's lashing out with his family at younger age. Well, sort of, hey, come, let's go on a vacation, and we're going to sit there and sort of lock you in and go ballistic on you.
Is that the last vacay that your mom was talking about, or no?
No, this was just all throughout.
Oh.
Maybe 30 to 36 or something. My dad, Kevin, come to the lake house with us. And we're all in a car with Ryan Golds and family, and it's like little belittlings and provokings, and you think you're the sarcastic comments about, Jesus. I can't remember, there's like a black organization for black civil rights. I can't remember what the organization's called. He's making belittling jokes about that. I think I'm a black person. And then, like we watch Howard Hughes, and he would whistle, and like movies, and he'd whistle, and like hint that I'm like Howard Hughes, or just weird things that I kept doing. My father kept showing me a movie and whistling, showing me a movie, whistling, the weird whistleblower thingy, and just constant like attacks and anger and rage from Ryan Golds and his family with my father, like, you know, we're going to sit there and mentally batter the shit out of you for what you did, and there's no what you did, right? Now remember, I talk about the correlation between Brian Weaver spending 15 minutes bullying Ryan Hirsch when I was in 8th grade, and then telling the principal with Ryan Hirsch that I beat up Ryan Hirsch, that I'm bullying Ryan Hirsch. So you can make the connection of these stage frame jobs. Not that anyone would care, even if I did bully Ryan Hirsch that much.
But you didn't.
30 years later, playing this game that Ryan Golds is like some kind of twin double to Ryan Hirsch, and he's getting his revenge or karma, right? Okay, it never ever stops. Okay, so we're at the home of Ryan Golds here. Now I printed out a few things. Let's see what's going on. I printed out a few things. Just these are a little off topic, but I think they're important. And I don't want to get too deep into them. Yeah, I can talk 100 million hours about the things done to me over these. Every single piece of artwork I've ever created, but I printed out some important ones. Okay, first is this is a big one. This is the one my daddy, working with the lawyers and police and Dinse, paying off Dinse, is saying this is the reason they arrested me.
Really?
It's
for the photo?
Not a direct reason, but the excuse they're using. Kevin's a violent, paranoid schizo. Look at this horrible artwork he did.
What is the number 4 for?
The movie. Okay, first let's talk about the context. I post thousands of pictures like this.
Yeah.
Whether it's jokes or it's references for movies, because there's obviously a reason. Because they've been using media, as we talked about, since 5 years old to try to make it look like I'm crazy and conform to media. So after years of abuse, like, are you going to fucking tell me what's going on? No, you're imagining it, you're crazy, you need to go into a mental institution. You start to sort of fuck around back with them in a joking way, not mean like them, because remember, I'm the target. So all my jokes, most of my jokes, are pretty much about me. I'm making fun of myself, right? Okay, so what's the movie? Divergent. And the character 4, where they try to brainwash him and force him into killing his girlfriend, and then he snaps in reality, whatever. So my father's mad about this, but he's not really mad about the artwork. And he doesn't really believe that I'm crazy. He's using it as an excuse to justify my eradication. Now, the toy gun, which everyone is supposedly so mad about, in the privacy of my own home, Crean T. Phillips, using this in the courtroom as circumstantial evidence that Kevin's crazy and violent, which doesn't really relate to jack shit. And of course, Seymour refused to bring in my circumstantial evidence about who I am and my background. Like, hey, the guy does 3D animation visual effects for a living.
Right.
Is there a connection here? Maybe. Okay, you think? Okay, so now if you want to break it down on a lawyerish level, because Crean T. Phillips asked me a few questions. Kevin, don't you see how this can be a problem? And I say no, unless you're a perfect anal retentive square on the stand. Now, what I wasn't thinking straight, I should have said it's a toy gun, but I wasn't thinking straight because that's my lawyer's job. And my lawyer, I don't believe this was ever checked into evidence, and my lawyer never cross-examined on it. Do you think that's strange? I mean, Kevin, is this a real or fake gun? Right. It's fake. You can see it's fake. You can look at it and you can see it's fake.
Right.
It looks fairly realish from a distance, but look at the size of the BB gun dart hole, right? Okay. Anyways, the point is this picture is in the privacy of my own home, and even if it were to be a real gun, it's not a crime.
No.
Okay? Now my lawyer and people are like, well, you have a mean face. Well, yeah, of course. Am I gonna... Okay, so what's the thing? Let's...
It's like a character.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I say that on the stand, and she cuts me off, and she gets mad. I said it's like Hollywood. She said, nope, no more questions.
It's just
Okay.
An artist here.
So the point is, let's say I'm a crazy, violent, paranoid schizo.
You're not going to post
I'm going to take a picture with good depth of field. I'm going to take the time to put some artwork. I'm going to do the facial pose. No, if you're a very paranoid schizo, you're not even going to have the time to freaking do this.
You wouldn't even do it because you wouldn't want anyone to like...
Correct, that's another good point. I wouldn't be posting it on Facebook and social networks and making 100,000 jokes about the movie Divergent and 100,000 other movies, which I do every day out of boredom. Or the lack of not being able to have a normal life from what they're doing. So the point is that you would agree that this isn't the type of thing, especially with the hundreds of thousands of pictures a day with people outside with AR-16s and real guns, that nobody gives a shit about.
I mean, there's no messages underneath it when you posted it. There was nothing like that, right?
No, I didn't say anything like, I'm gonna go to this person's house and slice their throat and rip rip their long intestine out of their neck or anything, you know.
Yeah.
So there's nothing out of the norm at all unless you live in a perfect anal retentive world. Okay, so Brittany, do you think I'm a danger? I'm the bad seed, remember? Are you scared? Look at my claws. Okay, so yeah, I just threatened Brittany's life. Okay, so it's all on camera, and for you too, Dinse. Okay.
You're not violent. You're not gonna hurt anybody, and you're like the only time you're going to hurt somebody is if you're defending yourself, like by accident.
Correct. Defending yourself means that you have no choice.
Exactly.
It's you or them.
If they're attacking you.
Yeah.
You know?
And they still haven't put me into a. They put me close with Bailey Bernard, but I still have not given them what they wanted.
So you don't ever instigate it. That's the thing.
Correct. And even if, it's like I said before, and I haven't, but even if I would have killed one of these people or a shitload in self-defense, it would have been justified if you're surrounded by honest, decent, moral people about right and wrong and not being paid off to hunt me down and kill me or whatever in the judicial system. Okay, so now this one is even more important, and this isn't a good printout because I was running out the door. 1996-97, Jim Johnson's electronic art, digital computers and art class. Jim Johnson working on a whole bunch of tactics with the government. I'm not going to go into them right now. This is actually a remake of, because I couldn't find the original, a picture of a game character Katana and Mike Tyson fighting Katana. Okay? Now, this is a big one in the Kevin's a Woman Beater tactics smear propaganda operations worldwide, working with Tom Farley, who wasn't even in Colorado. Random women all around campus knew that I'd put this on what Jim Johnson called the Sleeping Dog Contest, a website in around 96, 97 of the 30 students class artwork, which they all singled out one person and didn't care about anyone else. Worldwide, yes, worldwide, before the internet was even anything. And saying that I'm a schizo, this is a confession that I'm a woman beater and I think I'm a black person. I remember going back to childhood and there comes a white supremacist and all the weird things. Correct. So now I don't know this is going on, and I'm watching women walk around with these frightened looks on their faces. I'm going, what the fuck's going on? And I remembered my statement last week, or Friday when we spoke, I told you I feel like a rat in a cage. If you're walking around campus after you posted this picture, but you don't know anyone on campus has seen it, even though that's not, they wouldn't get mad anyways. The context is it's from an art class, right. With 30 students, so you're going to say it's art. You're walking around campus and women have these scared look on their faces. But you don't make the connection because you don't think these are all, you don't realize these are connected events. You're thinking, oh, that girl's weird. She went from hot to cold and she's bipolar and this and that or something. I don't know. Maybe stay away from her, right? Okay.
You never make that connection because it doesn't make sense.
Correct, because it's never said to you. And how would everyone worldwide have seen this?
Right.
Even though it's on a website, it doesn't matter. How would everyone worldwide see this unless there's billions of marketing dollars or millions of marketing dollars like Coca-Cola behind it? Okay, but the point is, every piece of artwork since a young child is used against me. After this, worldwide, people are coming on IRC. Hi, my name's Katana.
Really?
Then they're giving me speeches how the character from the video game, I think it's like Street Fighter, isn't real and weird things like this. I'm still not really making the connection because I'm not thinking that why would these strangers see my artwork?
And how would they even get that from your art? Like how would they even?
Exactly, that's the point. Is that they're nitpicking not just art, everything. If I fart, if I blink, if I rest my feet on a chair, they're nitpicking strategically from stranger to stranger. What can I collect to use against Kevin Perlman? Twist, contort, take out of context.
By looking at that, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, I would never take it to, oh, this.
Yeah, like when I walk into an art gallery, I'm like, I like it or I don't like it, or I think the artist was trying to say this, and that's it, and I leave. Right. I don't obsess on it, like someone needs to hunt down and remove that artist from society. No. Right? I move on. And so the point is, that the things that are being done to me don't make any sense. Right? I mean, I still have people hunting me down for like artwork at like 8 years old and things like that, right? It's just like, and you're like, how do they even know about it? And why do they care, right? It's like,
because they wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, and so it's all being collected, data mined with NSA level resources, archived. They're pretty much hiring creative writers to fabricate lame stories and then give the propaganda out to the entire planet and say this guy's crazy and needs to be removed from society. And remember Seymour's statement in your office that if someone thinks you're crazy, they try to get things to use against you? That's not true. I've never tried to get things to use against all the weird, strange, crazy people I've met in life.
If somebody is like kind of crazy or whatever, like you don't have to try and make them look crazy.
Yeah, and you stay away. If you feel that strongly that they're dangerous, you stay away.
Yeah, you don't go out and attack them.
Yeah, or try to prove or expose. Hey, I think this person's a violent paranoid schizo, so I'm going to spend 42 years proving it. Well, then you're the obsessed psychotic lunatic, not the guy. Right, yeah. Okay, and so the last one associated, me holding the gun, and then also at the same time, using the gun with a girl who called herself Lily Love, Christina, probably hinting about Christy Reynolds from 8th grade. And also, I think Lily Zine, and she comes over, she brings her own Freddy Krueger clothing, and she does her own makeup. She also brought up other pictures. She brought tiger shoes and all this.
Is that for?
No, this is the same toy gun that I had laying around in the photo studio as a prop.
Yeah.
And so this is when my father flipped the shit out, realizing that the toy gun, which incriminates him in a mass crime because he had paid Victoria Walker to give it to me in front of him at his 30th birthday party, or my 30th birthday party, because he wanted to see how I would react in the Kelly Hatch Karma surprise box, except my Kelly Hatch surprise box had all cool things like trippy toys with oil and water and food coloring and stoner type things, and Victoria Walker's had like Playmates with 3 porn stars and a Julia, and what was the other thing? Oh, there's something on the title about terrorism on the cover, and then she had the toy dart gun, and they intentionally gave it to me in front of my father. My father wanted to see my expression, and also hinting about when I was 16, my father paid off the LAPD to put up bullet holes in his 300E Mercedes, which I found, and told him, and then the rest of my life saying I tried to kill or scare him. Hence, fabricating all these things, paying off Victoria Walker to give me a toy gun so my father could say, Kevin's a violent paranoid schizo with a gun. Did you get it? Okay, so where my father really flips his shit is when this gun, that I don't know at the time, is actually an accessory to his crime spree against me, ends up in all of my art on model shoots and things like that. Okay? Hence, the real reason is not because Kevin farted wrong or Kevin has a fictional portrayal of the movie Divergent. The real reason he's so mad is because in my artwork itself is proof of his, what do you call it when you check it into evidence?
I don't know.
Evidence to crime. The proof of my father's evidence to a mass worldwide crime against me. That's why they're really mad. That's why they're trying to cover it up. That's why they're trying to get search warrants to get in my house saying we think you have something. That's why Dinse's trying to break in my house with 6 police break-in attempts. Because they don't want anything that links back to what's really going on to exist. Okay? Because nobody cares about a toy gun in the privacy of your own home, whether it's in photos or not.
People came to you and you did
Yeah.
too.
Well, even this one, nobody came to me for this one, but it still shows. Example, if you were to have a, what do you call it, an expert witness about guns on the stand, you go, that's a toy. Or you just look at the side that says toy gun. But, with all my other pictures. Okay, so now we still haven't, of course, gotten to here. But now it's time to talk. Hopefully we'll get to my father's office because now you understand the bigger picture of what he's so worried about that he wants to wipe me off the planet for.
Can we start there, or do you want to start in order that you wrote it out?
With what?
Your father's office and stuff?
It's pretty close to the top of the list. Elevate that voice.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so this is a thought from last week about my father's office and Fernanda see me. And this, remember I was drawing a blank?
Yeah.
Okay. My father says, why is Fernanda see me so defensive? She won't let you fix his computer. Do you have a way of tracking what she does? Well, we have a firewall that tracks everything in and out of the company. Fernanda see me, is going to LAPD, she's going to all these weird things, whatever. Some of it just someone wasting time and not wanting to work, and some of it spooky things, because Fernanda see me at one point was mad at me, saying something about my father's will, and don't worry, you'll get your money, in anger and rage at me. And I was like, why is this chick freaking out about my will that I don't even know if I have?
Right.
That's not, if I have a will or not, that's not up to me. That's out of my control.
Right.
But she's saying, don't worry, you'll get your money, and she's telling me that I need to go to the police. And I'm thinking, like, why do I need to go to the police about what? But remember, since day one, she's been involved in stalking me with the entire office. So why is the lady who's stalking me telling me I need to go to the police? And every time I've ever been to the police with hard drives of evidence, they've tried to silence me and make me look crazy. So what do you think her motive was?
The same thing.
Try to make me look crazy, try to set me up, working with the police, working with Dinse,
That you want.
especially with all the cop cars trying to make me mentally ill in my father's business parking lot. Did you see the connection? They're contacting the police, making up lies about me. The police are trying to make me mentally ill and set me up. They're trying to set me up. Then they want me to go to the police to try to make me look crazy. So the police can arrest me saying this guy's crazy or something weird. Yeah, and they're all linked and it's all coordinated and thought out, premeditated. So of course I didn't go to the police because I already knew what the police would tell me. I go to the police on my own terms, not some psychopath trying to manipulate me and set me up in situations. So now back to the logs. Here's the logs of Fernanda, what she's doing. My father kind of gets mad, but then he comes after me, and when he fires me in the next couple of days and tries to do it in such a way that he can hold my servers in his office, because he fires me after 5 p.m. He calls me up after I leave the office and fires me, and I said, well, I need to go back and get my servers. And he's like, don't worry, they'll be safe. And I'm like, I don't trust you. I'm going.
Yeah.
And
How old were you then? Like, what year was that? Probably like 5 years or 6?
I think about 5 years ago. Maybe 4. Now this was the thought that I forgot. As my father's calling me up, trying to turn everything around on me, and what he's really mad about is I'm not going out to dinner with him on my birthday.
Right.
With all the other, I'm done with you taking me out to pay people to take turns on me. I didn't say it that way. He says something on the phone. Now remember, my phones have always been tracked, and they're collecting phone conversations and texts. And he says on the phone something like, I can't remember the exact words, like, well, you know, you have the logs of what Fernanda's doing, and that's trying to make me look like I'm stalking Fernanda.
Right, but didn't you keep that just so you could get in at any point if you needed to help, like with their computers or whatever?
Well, okay, let's talk about reality here, okay?
Like you're not.
Let's talk about reality. The boss, the head honcho, the main man, the big cheese, comes to his employee. He's the boss. I have to do what he says, unless he asks me to go kill someone or something. Like his employees actually do it, I don't. If he comes to me, if the boss comes to me and says, Kevin, can you print out the firewall logs? I want to see what this or any employee is doing. I have to do it. It's his company. Now, people might try to do the scams they've done on me in my entire life. Notice the black and blue over there and whatever. Might be something, might not. Okay, so let's talk about the reality of the situation. Every firewall in the world, just like most software, logs. It logs. That's the entire point of a firewall.
Right.
That's like saying I want to drive a car without wheels. Right?
Right.
Okay? So all these things are based on half-truths and propaganda. Do you understand? They're out-of-context statements. Listen, if someone's hacking remote desktop port 3389 or VNC port 5900 or SSH shell port 22, your firewall, whether it sends you emails, set up to send you emails saying we have 1,000 attacks on port 22, tells you by IP address, internal and external, who's trying to get in, who's trying to get out, who's getting in successfully, who's allowed in. That's the point of a firewall that monitors 65,500 and something like 80 ports and a lot of other things like malware, viruses, web traffic.
Can I ask this question?
Sure.
What is a port?
A port is, okay, so everything we do based on TCP/IP connections, the internet connections, in and out, is based on a port. So for example, let's say right now I want to log into my house. And you know what remote desktop is in Windows?
Yeah.
Okay, if I right now want to log into my house, I have one single IP address. The only way right now is to get to my house is to that one single IP address. But I want to do 100 different things. Well, you can't do 100 different things with one IP address. So you need the location, like your home address, but then you need 100 ports to do 100 different things.
So a port is like
an extension of an IP. Like you live at 444 Brian Weaver Street, but I want to send Brian Weaver a mail that goes to 444 Brian Weaver Street. It says, "Hey you," which might equal 11. Now I want to send Brian Weaver at 444 Brian Weaver Street a mail that says, "What's new, Brian?" Maybe that's 12. Do you understand? Okay, so if I'm going to log into my remote desktop, I have to say, go to this IP address on port 3389. If I'm going to log into VNC, I have to go to my same IP address on port 5900. It's another type of derivative of like remote desktop, but originally from Unix. Okay. If I want to go into SSH shell, same address on port 22. Okay, so now there's 65,000 ports open by default. Think about that. Most people don't think about this. No. Your computer right now, if you have a Cheeseball Linksys router, does not have a firewall, meaning that 98% of the world here that are private citizens don't have firewalls, and they have 65,000 open ports.
That's crazy.
That's like a freaking buffet for anyone that wants to rip apart your network. Okay? Now, the thing is, to get in, to do whatever they want. Inject viruses, SQL attacks, track your email. NSA having a field day because you're not protected.
Okay. Can you get past firewalls?
Yeah, those that are good can. Okay. And probably a lot of NSA tools rip right past them, and I'm telling you that they've gotten past. I have some of the best firewalling out there. Not the best, but
I bet you do.
Enterprise level firewall in my house, and they shred right through it instantly. Everything I do on the internet, everyone knows, and it's with NSA police mobile tools.
Right.
To try to get, twist, and contort anything they can use out of context. But the point I was going to make is, the average person does not have a firewall in their private homes, and they don't need to.
Okay.
Meaning that the only reason you're in danger is someone with serious resources or knowledge doesn't like you. And just a side note, on those crappy routers, there is a NAT level internal external IP address, but it's still not. There's no port blocking, there's no malware blocking, there's no intrusion detection algorithms, nothing.
No safety.
Yeah, so it's the bare minimum. My car has an engine, and that's about it.
Okay.
Okay, but back to the point, they don't need it because they're not being stalked and targeted, except for the rare few, maybe like Sarah Palin or some person that's hated, right? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so the point, this entire deviation of this long topic is back to, on the phone, my father's trying to turn the conversation into, well, Kevin, you have our firewall logs, and do you understand?
Yeah.
Wait, but you asked me. Oh, but I'm going to leave that out.
Okay.
The head honcho, the boss of the company wanted this, now he's on the phone. Look what you did.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
there's setups. Right? Now we also know that the police and government are taking everything off my phone and emails and using them against me. Oh, look what Kevin did now. Wait, so don't you think my father doesn't know when he calls me up on the phone,
Right.
he's reversing the wording and having people collect it, just like they were doing with Roddy Morales and Jen has, to use against me to make it appear on the surface, this guy's a bad seed. Look what he's doing in my company. He thinks he's the boss.
Right.
Okay, so that was the thought that I was sort of lingering last time, like what the hell was that? Yeah, that's very important to understand. That's the point where I really understood, even though I knew it, I understood the levels that this guy would go to cover his ass, throw his son under the bus, when all I have to say is, Lorena, don't hunt down trying to kill my son. You know, you're fired, you're not fired, I don't know, I can't tell you what his actions, I mean, I know what his actions should have been, but I would never make that statement. Like, and at one point he asked me what I should do to Lorena, same type of thing. Yeah, like, Lorena's doing these things, well, what do you want me to do? trying to make it look like I'm trying to take over the company, right? I watched this tactic over and over with them, trying to flip it on me and collect. Okay, so anyway.
Wait, 4 or 5 years ago is when you, like it solidified for you what was going on with your job?
No, it was solidified before that. Well, no, I should say, I don't know how to explain it.
That's okay.
Everyone was involved, and is involved.
Right.
But there's levels of involvement. Okay, this isn't a simple issue.
Oh, okay. That's when you realize how big your job was.
Where, example, 29, you know what's going on, you're freaked out. 35, you're past the sort of freaked out, and you're really starting to understand what's going on, but who's responsible? Does that make sense? Okay, example, if you're attacked 100,000 to 1,000,000 times per day worldwide, who's doing it? Is it this 100,000 guys? Is it those 100,000 guys? Is it your mom? Is it dad? Is it your brother? Who's the one orchestrating it? Who's the one going out to the store, buying 100,000 cockroaches and setting them loose, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't know, because it's just a hurricane. You're in a hurricane. Is it this 100,000 leaves flying by you? Is it... Okay, so you sort of have to systematically, by process of elimination, distance yourself from those that are on the higher danger level from the lower danger level. Okay, and my father is on the number one, right at the top of the danger level, because it starts from childhood with his psychology degree, and him, I guess, coming out of the Air Force probably has some kind of relationship.
So, but is that when you realize then, like, that he was, like, number one? Like, when you...
Well, there is no real number one, but
well,
there's a magnitude of this guy is just...
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have a company of 28 employees working on me all day and night, 24/7, to exterminate, eradicate, end my life, kill me, or lock me in a cage. We have Lorena Escobar, who sits around pretending to be an office manager since I was 16, paying off women in Southern Oregon State College, University of Colorado to stalk me and try to set me up. We have teachers contacted in all colleges to try to set me up. We have teachers in high schools trying to set me up. We have every psychological bullshit label. Okay, so let's do the math. Who is into psychology? My father has a secondary psychology, my brother has a secondary psychology, and my brother's an art therapist. Okay.
Your brother is too?
Secondary psychology degree.
Your brother?
No, my mother.
Oh, they said my brother.
No, he's a urologist.
I knew your mom was.
He's a urologist. I think Shane might be off in med school, working the same systematic psychotic behaviors. Okay, okay, it starts at 5 years old. Well, if it starts at 5 years old, Lorena was around 16 when my father paid her off to pretend to be an office manager.
She was young too?
No, I was 16.
Oh, okay.
Well, she's 2 years older than me, so she was 18.
18, okay.
She's my brother's age.
Okay.
She was an x-ray tech, then became an office manager with this little spoiled brat running around saying she could quit and get paid $400,000 a year without ever even going to college, and does nothing at all but follow the doctor's son around hunting him and stalking him. Okay, do you understand? So now you have a dynamic. Well, what motive does 28 Golden State employees have? My brother, Lorena Escobar, they're just having a bad day and they all just conspiring together to go after me? No. So now you're going to say this is probably about money, right? Kind of like a split. Hey, Lorena, you want to be my office manager? I'll pay you to be my office manager. I'll pay you $150,000. I don't know how much you made. I'll pay you $150,000 to be my office manager. I'm just pulling a number.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have some side activities. So the cover-up, do you understand the, what do you call it? The wrapper
The other, yeah.
is she's a Golden State Sports Medical office manager, which we also had secondary office managers. That's the real work. That's interesting. Like Fernanda Simi and then Elsie Sandoval. And she's involved in these intricate things of trying to hack into my computer, get into my house, paying off the police, paying off women. She's running around with you in moderation. And what you're doing in the privacy of your own home. Me telling her, look, Lorena, my private life is none of your business, and her getting mad about that. Okay? What's the motive? They're one crazy person? Sure. I get that. 28 crazy office employees all doing the same thing with worldwide support? Not crazy. Systematic.
Right.
Okay, so you have a systematic, calculated campaign going on. 28 employees alone for 14 years working on me all day and night, 24/7, minute by minute. Have to have motive and reason. Well, let's play stupid and say Lorena Escobar went off the handle. She somehow managed to rile up 28 office employees to hunt me, even though it's worldwide. Doesn't make any sense, because the other employees would say, that's crazy, Lorena, you need to get, I'm calling the cops. Okay, so it's coming from the boss. It's coming from the big cheese. And remember, someone with a psychology degree, my family, at childhood, at 5 years old, with the psychology community. And it goes from the psychology community to the police, to the government, following me to college, Kevin's crazy, we need to remove him from society, whatever. I can't give you the specifics about what they're saying at 5 years old. My father's saying, like, I have a nervous problem at 5 years old. I mean, even if I did, so what?
No, you're a kid, and that says something probably about the environment you were raised in.
Correct.
You're nervous then,
Yeah, like I'm trying to create the perfect robot child or something, right?
It's too much pressure,
yeah. Okay, so anyways, oh, you asked me last time when we were talking about the girl that tried to set me up for breaking and entering in Denver, the Jeep girl, with the black guy. You said that I fly out of state or something.
I thought you flew from California to...
No, but remember, I feel like I'm in a rat in a cage. There were two other people. Sia Ngiatang. After I graduated from University of Colorado, Sia Ngiatang, by the way, Sia, CIA, and would always say, see how you are. Get it?
That person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got a family saying you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
You have Sia, who knows if that was even her real name, Ngiatang, who says her father was a judge, just like Jen Yang.
Weird.
Asian girl, father's a judge. Jen Yang, Asian girl, I think they said her father was a judge. Calls herself Sia, like CIA, met off IRC.
Okay.
We go out on a few dates, not really working out. She's kind of annoying. She shows up one day for no reason while I'm having sex with this other girl. Just magically. I don't even think I told her my address now that I think about it. I don't even know. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Now she later on wants this revenge for no reason like everyone else. So I fly, I think, out to Florida to see my brother, and I meet Skylar, who tries to set me up with the police. Stephanie, who's following me on IRC all the way to the Colorado channel from Florida, who lives by my brother. And then, on the way back, I stop, because Sia says, Kevin, stop on the way back, and I want to see you, even though we weren't really that close.
Yeah.
And I do whatever, because I want to see my old roots or whatever, because I love Boulder. Boulder's awesome. And she plays the hot cold, I come in, well, now I want to see you, and this and that, trying to blow me off.
Okay.
Why do you think she was doing that? Uh-oh. Well, think about it.
No.
With everything going on, why do you think she...
Well, like, before too, like, people will tell you to do something and then act like they would tell you to do. Or say, like, go in and be like, right?
hold on a sec, let me make sure. Why is this thing puking on me? Okay, so... what do you think? Brittany's just gotten her paper, so she's getting overloaded on how government kill operations work. So what do you think? What do you think Sia Ngiatang's reasoning here is to get me to fly from a different state over back to Colorado and then play the hot cold game like I'm not interested in you?
Well, it sounds very similar to like the other things when you asked to borrow her, like that. What's it called? The cutter thing? What is it called?
No, that was Kelly Hatch in Oregon.
Right, but I'm saying it reminds me of that because then she said that you broke into her room or something.
Correct. Just, hey, you can, go borrow it, go into my room, and then he broke into my room. Like that's not how life works. Like, you're crazy, Kevin, because you went into someone's room. It's your friend that said go in your room. Well, that's every day. My friend, hey, come over, let's have some beers, the door's open, come over. But that's a friend. That's not a stranger in IRC that I've never met. Right? So the context is different.
Right, but that's what it reminded me of because she's like, come see me, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's a little different because, first of all, we weren't that close. I would never walk into Sia Ngiatang's house without...
No, I'm just saying, like, she's like, please come see me, I want to see you. And then once you get there, she's like, I don't want to see you.
But what do you think she wanted at the instant moment of the blow-off?
For you to react? Like, what the hell? Like, I just flew all
Like shouting, I'm gonna kill you, this or that.
For you to be upset and mad. I would be.
Correct.
I don't know that you're fully there, you know?
I'm a violent, according to the LAPD and government, probably all the way up in the White House, I'm a violent paranoid schizo.
Right. So
We have Mr. Quigley telling me to punch Paul Schaefer in 10th grade, which didn't work.
Right.
We have Ngiatang getting me to fly from Florida to Denver. I'm not interested now.
Right.
You're a piece of shit.
Don't you think they would like realize like, okay, well clearly I'm not ever gonna react the way you guys are trying to get me to?
They did realize it, but they just get angrier and angrier. They realize it at a young age. I mean, if in 10th grade I didn't punch Paul Schaefer when a teacher flat out told me to,
No.
if I have no history of violence,
No.
I have no juvie record, I have no criminal record.
Still trash.
I mean, now finally after 47, they kind of have some tiny misdemeanors, but
There's always self-defense and stuff, and for stupid little crimes that don't exist, like sitting out for.
correct.
Yeah.
But you see that they're trying to make it look like I have a pattern of behavior
Yeah.
of anger, rage, violence, but they damn well know, like everyone else.
You don't.
I don't. Just like the person, the camera wasn't rolling. The person just parked here and honked their horn twice. Their alarm horn trying to provoke me, right? So why have you witnessed over 100 alarm horn honkings and 2 and 3s at every location we've been at, directed at me with 100,000 other things? I mean, why? I mean, it's basic logic, but why do you think?
To try and get a reaction.
Correct. Now, if their arguments are that I'm a violent paranoid schizo attacking people, then, like we said before, they don't need to do that.
No.
Okay, so they're setups for some other reason,
Right.
and it's what I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? They don't want me talking. Just like the death threats. You don't talk or we kill you, and the 100 variants from subtle to direct,
So
right?
what happened with the girl, that Sia or whatever?
You know, she called me, or I called her. She played these weird games. Maybe a little later, blah, blah, blah. And then as I got a little angrier, because I'm not a robot,
No, I don't
you know, like, what the fuck's going on? You had me fly down. You know, I don't have time for you, blah. And it was like,
I'd be so
piece of shit, right? Now, I didn't go after her or do anything to her. I kind of sported around with my friends, a few of the older friends, and went around Boulder like the good old days.
Yeah.
And that's it. Okay, now, let's go to Christina Stahlinsky.
That's
Next.
that
I
name.
feel like a rat in a cage.
Okay.
That
was the girl you told me about last time, right?
No, I don't think I meant that. Who did I? Skylar, Stephanie, and I also mentioned Stephania, the Latin stripper with the angel tactics.
Who's Christina?
Christina Stahlinsky lived in Arizona.
Okay.
I met her on IRC. How did she come into the Colorado channel? I don't exactly know why. I became like kind of friendish, virtual friendish, and I met her several times in real life. We hung out as kind of friends but no more. And maybe this was 3 or 4 times. She was very neurotic. She wasn't neurotic, but she was neurotic towards me like my mother. Like, she played this game like I mentioned her in college. I smoked some weed.
Yeah.
And it was the end of the world, like I'm being hunted by the cops at that point, like you're a drug dealer. Correct. Correct. I'm glad you said it very college-y like that. Everyone who goes to college smokes weed. Some of them do coke. Some of them do uppers, downers, shrooms. The point is that nobody's hunted for smoking of weed a few times in college by the NSA, FBI.
So, did she act weird towards you after you said that, or what?
It was the same thing like everyone else. I'm your friend, but I'm not your friend. She's... Example, and I'll get to that without bringing all the other crap.
I know.
At this point, I've lived back in California, and she says, Kevin, I think she's with a friend. We're going to San Diego. You want to meet me in San Diego?
Did you meet her in Colorado originally?
No, I think I met her in Arizona because I had some family in Arizona. You notice a little pattern here?
Yeah.
Florida, Arizona, there's family in all these locations. Okay, so now she wants to meet me in San Diego. Now there's a whole thing with Mike Wexler wanting to do a road trip down to San Diego, working with the San Diego PD and all these weird operations. I'm not going to get into that now. And Eric Christensen wanted to do a road trip down to San Diego
to set me up with the San Diego PD, hinting about his girlfriend Jen and all these weird things that I don't exactly know why they have a problem with San Diego, but so now she is working on with the San Diego PD. Kevin, meet me in San Diego. I haven't seen you in a couple of years, and we're never really that close, you know. And I drive down, and she disappeared. Like I'm not returning your calls. I'm not like Sia. The same pattern of passive aggressive. I want to set you up and get a reaction. Okay, so I'm there. It's who knows. I get there early, and then in the morning, and by who knows, like maybe 1 a.m. or something, I'm like, fuck this. I'm going home. You know, fuck this. Fuck her. I'm turning around. I'm going home.
Real quick. Look.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah, what did he do? Anything?
He hit the Carter. That's it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so I start to go home, and she calls. Kevin, I'm so sorry. We did this, blah, blah, blah. What do you think's really going on? Now that you know the bigger picture.
What do you think? I don't know.
No, I'm asking. I know what's going on. What do you think? Come on.
No.
You got a psychology degree.
That doesn't.
What do you think? Well, what do you her human behavior?
Guilt?
Guilt for what? She's.
Blowing you up? Or saying, come, setting you trying to set you up?
Well, you just.
I'm confused.
I'm asking you why she would have me come down to San Diego and blow me off.
Reaction.
She has me drive. It's not that far, but it's a 2-hour drive to get a reaction.
Yeah. And then
Now,
the apology.
how does she instantly know within 30 minutes when I turn around and go the other way?
That's the question.
The same way that cop just probably came by twice knowing I'm here, and the cop over there at McDonald's.
Why do you think she apologized?
What?
Why do you think she apologized?
It's like a test. I want to date you, but I want to see if you're a murderer.
Like if you'll show up or not?
No, if she can get a reaction. Like if she get like 100,000 phone calls and I'm going to kill her or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
Okay?
Okay.
I mean, come
And then
on.
she
This is basic
apologizes
101.
For
You know,
what
all the
reason?
drama girls that run around. Oh, he's a stalker. He's a stalker. He's a
But
stalker. The drama girls,
they
right?
already asked him to come, and then they say that.
She's asking me to come, then she's blowing me off, like everyone else,
Right.
to get the reaction.
Yeah.
But what happens if you keep provoking someone, whether it's aggressive or passive aggressive?
Well, eventually, you're going to get an action.
Correct. Let me rephrase. What happens if you let's say you have a sharp rock,
Yeah.
a rock with sharp edges, and you put this rock on the edge by the ocean where the water comes up on shore over and over, and you come back in 5 years, the rock's smooth around all edges. So what we call in Jesus, what's it called? Geography, whatever.
I am not the one.
My brain's fried.
Geology?
Geology, thank you. In geology, that's called wear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's apply the laws of geology to human behavior. You keep provoking everyone 100,000 to 1,000,000 times per day on the internet, off the internet. People show up honking their alarm horns 2 or 3 times, 100 times a day for 20 years. What? By trying to wear a human down, they're trying to get that reaction.
Or trying to get them to, like, give in or give up or react.
Well, you can't give up. Well, how do you give up?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right? You get weaker and weaker and you die.
That's what I mean.
And eventually, while you're dying, you say enough's enough, and maybe you end up killing someone for your life, for self-defense,
Fighting.
and they go, nothing's happening, he's crazy, he's a violent paranoid schizo. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so these events where my statement, I feel like a rat in a cage, where they flipped out, they're trying to wear me down, one person sequentially after the next, worldwide, since 5 years old, to get an angry reaction, working with the police, government, NSA, FBI, to remove me from society.
You would think, like, they'd be like, okay, this dude is, like, not going to react. Like,
You would think.
Yeah, you would think that.
And that's why they're called agendas. Okay? Example. My slave stood up to me, and he keeps standing up to me, And I think I don't like that. So I'm going to keep whipping him, and then I'll hang him and kill him. Okay? And it's the same thought process, because if I have mental issues, if I'm somehow a problem in society, then it's going to be without manipulation.
Right.
But yet I'm running my own company. I'm working for Universal Studios, modern video film. I have a college degree minus 2 classes, which is a long story.
But you were very successful, like, and well recognized.
No. Let's keep it in perspective.
People you knew at least wanted, like, you to work on their stuff for them, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I went out of my way for my friends that couldn't cut it in technology and did things for free for them. Whatever. It's
Built websites.
the point is that all these people that posed as my friends were my frenemies, and they had agendas with the government to rid me of the world. Okay? Now, that doesn't make any sense, but it's happening. Okay? I can't explain from the psychotic murderers in the government that want me dead why they're doing what they're doing with my mother, who's saying, I just want you to have a good life. Okay? That's not within my grasp, because they can't be honest. All I know is I would be equivalent to a Jew in a concentration camp or a slave being tortured and killed, with the righteous going, it's for the greater good, or some weird thing like that. Right? Okay? But once you break it down into their actions and their behaviors, they're going after a really good guy and they want him dead and gone. And after 29, it shifts from how do we rid this guy of the world neatly to, oh shit, now he knows. Okay, which makes me a very dangerous guy as far as knowledge, just like Edward Snowden is dangerous to our government. Okay?
Because he knows what, yeah.
So the point is that as I'm rattling off one person sequentially after the next, my entire life, trying to set me up,
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no
whether it
sense.
makes sense or it doesn't make sense, you have to agree of the systematic warfare directed at me. Okay? If I can rattle off 1,000 women I've met in the last 20 years that tried to set me up like that,
Like,
you don't think that something's out of the norm here?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I can go from girl to girl, whether it's superficial strip club girls to waitresses in pool halls or waitresses at coffee shops to random strangers showing up wanting to talk to me who are female or male. They all have the same exact agenda, and then they run around saying, well, Kevin's a troll. Okay, well, what is a troll? Is that the cave dweller in Lord of the Rings? Is that a troll on the end of a fishing rod?
What's a troll?
Well, their ideology is that a troll is someone that provokes someone into a reaction and gets their jollies. But still, even if I had trolled someone, do you think there'd be a planetary scale hunt all day and night to kill me? Okay, so that is a packaged bullshit scam, right, with disinformation. What's really going on? Well, it's not going to be known until someone in the government sits down and explains things from 5 years old to now. And that's not going to happen. Okay, so now we still really haven't gotten... but that was an important topic so that the people understand the constant provokings, and then like we've seen the cops show up twice, and right, I mean, you see a repetition. Okay, so
That's what's important too. It's not just it's not just one occurrence that could be
Yeah.
it was coincidental.
so I'm your friend and I think you're violent, so I'm gonna spend the rest of my entire life all day night 27 to prove it and then lock you away. Well, then you're not my friend and you shouldn't be near me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like they're spending their lives.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense.
No,
Just-
there's an agenda. There's things they don't want to talk about. There's things they want covered up. You can't walk up to teachers and tell them to punch students.
No.
Think about that.
Or kids. Teachers
Right.
can't.
Example, let's say Mr. Quigley was on the news tomorrow saying, Quigley, when you were 20 years ago, you told Kevin to punch Paul Schaefer at Calabasas High. Why did you tell him to do that?
Is that what he's
My point is, do you think that Mr. Quigley wants to be on the news saying that? Do you think Mr. Quigley would ever work in high schools again or any teaching. Okay, so there's what they're trying to cover up. That with 100,000 people I grew up with, right? Let's see. So what is it that, Kevin, you have to leave the country really about? At 29, my mother says my past caught up with me. My father says I know what I did, but refuses to tell me. My mother hints that I need to leave the country, and there's this whole thing. Mike Huntley at the same time saying I'm too out of control for California. That doesn't make any sense. I have to leave. Just kind of note the waitress leaving. Okay. Mike Huntley.
Says you're too.
No. Okay. So. Mike Huntley, I'm too out of control for California. At 29, my mother hints I need to leave the country, and I'm like, what the hell is this chick talking about, right? And because it's just coming from nowhere, just like deer in headlights, Twilight Zone, like this is not even making any sense. And okay, so I think it's that black guy honked the horn twice, and notice it's a black guy. And remember, I was telling you that a black guy was waiting for me backwards in an Escalade at the McDonald's when the cop showed up and nodded. Okay, do you see a pattern? Okay, so the black. Remember, once again, we talked about the racial lies. What?
I don't know if that was his car or not.
No, you were in your trunk getting the camera died, or I was fixing the camera. Okay, so remember the racial statements. And the video I sent you the other day of someone putting something up I'm a Nazi, trying to cover up their crime spree.
Where was that?
I sent you it on your phone. It's this thing saying I'm a pedophile and a Nazi, and under a fake anonymous name like Mike Huntley.
Seriously?
Yeah, so that's these racial things that I'm 8 years old, I kissed a black girl, and my family running around saying I'm a white supremacist. Well, I traced it back. 1960, the movie, and remember the Nikki Delano, The Grass is Greener porn that I showed you with Tia Cyrus and all my neighbors.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they were working The Grass is Greener, and Terrance Scroggins is on the other side, and Terrance Scroggins and the HOA are stealing all our money to fix everything on their side. Well, The Grass is Always Greener doesn't really come from Nikki Delano while they arrest me on the courthouse on Delano Street. It comes from the 1960 movie, The Grass is Greener. And the concept of The Grass is Greener in that movie was the guy saying that because his wife is having an affair with another guy, that the guy's going to have to leave the country. And the whole scam with my entire life, with my family trying to make me look like a homewrecker for some reason, especially with Jen Hess, who was cheating on her husband. I didn't even know she was married because she called herself Jessie Jane. Well, she didn't use the last name Jane. I made that connection when Jessie Jane, the porn star, was going ballistic on me for years. Probably still is. Okay, another fellow blonde. Okay, so. Now back to our original topic on an older conversation. If I was born in 1972 and someone is working on me with movies in their head from 1960, those people are like my parents and much older than me, showing you when this started, or at when I was born, and I traced it to 5 years old. Okay.
Is this where we are? Let's talk about.
We're right here. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about.
Kevin leaves the country, but what is it? But what is this really about? We just don't like our child, so we want to ostracize you and banish him or me from society, right? Don't you see? Doesn't it seem like you made a life choice, or we saw the signs that you would make a life choice, that you're different than us?
So we decided that for you, what your life would be like.
So now you need to leave the country, and we want you nowhere near us.
Right, but then your mom, I don't know. it's hard. Have you talked to her recently?
No, but
It's hard, like, when she's on the phone that day when I talked to her, too, with you, because, like, she sounds like I want to believe that she's such a sweet lady, you know, but then it's, like, this whole other side. And I know
correct. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So she's peddling around every way. She's denying her statements, like I supposedly hit Josh Berman in the head with a golf club. Every time she calls me, she's playing the spy game tactics, like, example, let's say I go to a movie and then she calls me that night or the next day, so have you seen any movies? Right, I know where you are, but I want to try to squeeze some juice from the lemon to... Well, that's abusive. That's the type of thing that creates paranoia. And it's not a one-time thing, it's over and over. Like I was mentioning, at 29 when I ran out of gas on PCH and Arnold calls and it's don't run out of gas as he hangs up, it's like belittling and trying to provoke you.
And they're like, wow.
Okay. Yeah, and they're getting their jollies, and then you're finding out that the reason Brian Longbotham hired you to work on the pilot spy game at Universal Studios was to try to flip you out and make you look crazy to cover up these things while they play spy games on you. Right? And also applies to the show Hollyweird. So now you're saying, wait, Kevin, you worked at Universal Studios, but people at Universal Studios were involved in these operations. Okay, we're talking big money. We're talking billions of dollars. Okay, so, so the conclusion is kind of like, look, your son's in the shit we don't like, and it's not illegal, because remember, Mike Huntley gave me the cookie at 14. You met Melody the stripper and you bounced her at this harmless bachelor party. You didn't commit any crimes, not even close. So we want to ostracize you from the United States or world now. For no crime, nothing wrong. You're just different than us. Now it's fair to say all throughout history, people have been ostracized for being different. Okay? Now, except for this is a psychotic family, which doesn't really make sense, because how do they have the resources of governments? Okay, so,
And then we talked about this.
okay, so this is important. Now we're getting to my father. Did we talk about this? Let's talk about who my father really is.
No, this one.
Oh, what is that?
Because we
Read it.
just talked about that.
Okay, so let's talk about who my father really is. Well, trying to be a really nice, loving father on the surface. He is a orthopedic surgeon with a secondary psychology degree who uses psychology as a weapon. He practices orthopedics, but not traditional orthopedics. He has a work comp business where the majority of his clients are referred to him through attorneys. Okay? Now, what that means is someone gets hurt on the job. They sue the company, I can't work again. The lawyers refer the patients to my dad to check them out. There's private investigators who run around making sure it's legit. Okay? Now, does he have much walk-in? I don't know. I can't tell you. And so, no. The entire point I'm getting at is because now he's on kind of the side of these shady, freaky things, and he doesn't want me talking about things being done to me, not really about him, until he shows his true colors, and I have to talk about him. Correct. They don't want me talking about it. They don't want me saying anything. It's harmful to me to say, leave me alone, and this is being done to me. You're not allowed to defend yourself. Weird things that don't make any sense while he whistles at me that I'm a whistleblower and working directly with Tom Farley to try to set me up or get things to use against me growing up and things like this, right? Which I'm tracing these paths all the way back to 29 with Tom Farley and him doing demented things. And the pills, the vertigo pills, which he obviously got from my father. Okay, so... my point is that whenever I try to contact an attorney for civil or defense, they're all mad at me, they attack me in anger and rage, and try to stop me from getting help.
The first one you contacted?
All of them, ever.
No, but the first guy, what was his name?
Oh, Richard Barnwell?
He was so rude to you.
Okay, but more importantly, aside from Richard Barnwell and Seymour Amster, if you go on my webpage, lawyers refusing to help, my website, lawyers refusing to help, there's probably over 1,000 in there,
Yeah.
and that's just the ones I had the energy to write down. Okay? So now, think about that,
She's so cute.
and think about who's always around these types of people. Because I'm not. I'm an artist or whatever and building internet websites. I'm not hanging around lawyers and private investigators. Oh, and by the way, the same with the private investigators. So isn't it fair to say that Lorena Escobar and my father are contacting anyone that can help me
And not
to stop me from getting help, and associated with Detective Angela Stewart at Topanga Division LAPD? And remember, Dinse appears to be paid off. Did you see the connections?
Yeah.
Cops on the take, cops paid off to hunt me down. Okay,
So
Now-
you contacted over 1,000 lawyers. Like, what did they say to you? We can't help.
it went through variations of the maybe someone will call you back, bye-bye, after Detective Angela Stewart. I called Detective Angela Stewart for things done to me, and I said, these people need to be stopped. And she said, what did you say? I said, these people need to be stopped. And she said, bye-bye. And then a couple days later, they arrest me.
For what? What did they call you?
That was the Terrance Scroggins. I don't know. It gets...
Oh.
Actually, I think what happened, it's probably all written down. Terrance Scroggins' thing was thrown out. And then Bailey Bernard was sent after me to attack me. And I called about Bailey Bernard and sent them the photos of Bailey. And then they rearrested me saying I
Sat on the court.
failed to show up in court and there's a warrant out lying. And that's all on video with Dinse lying.
And then you never got a court notice or anything to
No,
show up?
And why didn't Richard Barnwell either?
Right.
Okay, and so after that, so this is like round 2 of calling attorneys, and that doesn't include 2013 calling attorneys. So there's probably something like 4,000 attorneys, who knows. Okay, so each one, whether it was the paralegal or the attorney, sending me a cryptic, we're not going to help you, bye-bye message. Some would do other things like come out to a meeting, and then the lawyer would say, the consultation, and the lawyer would say, well, you know, I couldn't make it, so talk to my lawyer, my partner or co-worker, and one of them was black, just like the guy that cruised here honking his horn twice, and he would show anger and rage like Richard Barnwell, who's also black, and diverting me into the guy I've supposedly done something to, even though there's nothing I've done anything to, or his cultural, racial people, or whatever.
You actually like
And then they play this game to waste my time and belittle me, and while they're doing it, they're trying to trigger me and provoke me. And it just goes on and on from different thing like that. Forever. Person to person, and then you have people that are black showing up here doing these things to try to threaten or whatever. Okay.
It doesn't make sense because you know, that's the first person you kissed was like that little girl.
But
right?
what does that have to do with the tea in China?
No, I'm just saying, like, they have a reason to dislike you.
They don't have a reason to like or dislike.
Exactly. And, like, clearly
It's just an event that happens every day.
but you're not
It's like
a-
me saying I don't like these people and I'm gonna hunt them down because they left their coffee cup on the table here when they went in.
That's what I'm saying.
Who cares? Nobody cares. Correct. It shows. This is way more important than some. This is more important than some cheese dick AC guy told to try to set me up. Well, it is, but they come out and they try to figure out ways to provoke me.
Or try to.
I've hired maybe 3 or 4, but I've called hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and they all are told to play the same game. I don't know you, and I'm going to do these things to you, and I'm going to try to set you up. Whatever, same thing. So,
It's like you've reached out to like 10,000 people to try and get help.
years. Just call after call, and they play again. Why didn't you call us? Yeah, right, whatever.
Right, you
Okay.
called for years and years and years to get someone to listen.
So the point is, my father associates with all these people.
Right.
Mike Huntley was building a private investigator portal to link all private investigators in our office together, Tim Thompson. And my father's also hanging out with David Greenstein, the dude with the service animal that sets... None of this makes any sense, right? From this is way beyond any level of shady people, and yet they have NSA level resources. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
And I can assure you it's not really about me hanging around my father and not knowing who he was. These are government operations. Okay, I mean, you've seen the police. We've had 3 in Agoura, which I don't even live. We've had 3 police presence in a couple hours. Right at the McDonald's up there when I got food. Okay. Now remember, I told you the police officer nodded like he's friendly, but is he really friendly? I don't know. Because nothing... Okay, so... I have here expand on control. People don't walk around talking about controlling people like my father and Lorena Escobar did. Correct? Do you go with your friends and they talk about controlling their others?
No.
Okay, so when my father would go out to lunches with Lorena Escobar, they would talk about how she would control her boyfriend or husband and how he needed to be watched, or things like weird, freaky things like this. My father would show me that he's watching Shane on the cell phone, my little brother, on like tracking everywhere he goes on GPS. I'm like, Dad, don't you feel like you're a douchebag or something? You know, like.
How old is your brother?
He was about 16. I mean, you don't think that's a little violating there?
I do. I think that's a little
okay.
overboard. Violating it.
Did I mention last week? Yeah, I did. Tom Farley coming to me when I'm 29 saying, Kevin, you can't control people. Do you see the connection here? My father working with Tom Farley since 8 years old, trying to collect information to use against me, and Tom Farley lying about everything. Okay? So this whole control thing, well, remember I was telling you earlier about disinformation and taking me out and trying to make me think that everything that's going on is normal?
Like the steak thing? Like, well, everybody gets a steak. It's cooked wrong sometimes.
Everyone does what?
Like, sorry, I don't know why that popped into my head.
I didn't
first.
hear you.
That when you went out to dinner and they messed up your steak or whatever, and your mom was like, everybody, that happens to everybody.
No, he didn't. I mean, he did on other things, but not the steak.
But is that, like,
or no, my mom did do that, but
Yeah.
yeah. And so what they do is they divert it from many to one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They try to take the fact that maybe 100,000 people are told to do the same thing and turn it into one single imperfection.
Right. Yeah.
Try to make me look crazy. But more importantly, what I'm talking about is the conversation, and that is a controlling.
Like
I'm talking
generalization. She's trying to make it like, oh, this
Yeah.
happens all the time or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the more controlling, I'm talking more about the direct statements.
Oh, okay.
We would go out to lunch and they would talk about how to control her husband and my father. Patty Guggen, I can't control her. And like, I don't know if I said it, but my thought was like,
Why would you?
Dad, if you have an employee that you're running around talking about control, then you should probably fire them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You don't control
Absolutely.
people.
No.
You hire people to do a job. If they can't fulfill the position, you fire them.
And find someone else.
Okay, you don't control them. You don't shove cattle prods up their ass every 10 minutes if they can't write what they need to write down fast enough. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Well, these are some of their conversations. Okay?
And you were
Not the cattle prod level, but...
No. The control and stuff.
Okay, now my point is you don't normally sit around people talking about controlling people like that. That's a psychotic behavior. You understand?
And how many lunches did you go out to with them? It happened like over and over.
He would want to take me out every Tuesday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday. Lorena would get mad and jealous, and they would play this game like I'm violating Lorena's space.
Like, because you're going to lunch with your dad and she isn't?
No, she is going out to him. He's inviting me along.
Yeah.
Like I ruined their me time. I ruined their special moment.
Did they have like an affair or something?
Not that I know of, but my dad has cheated on my mom, so I wouldn't doubt it. She's a Latin with big old silicone breasts, so.
Just the way you said that, you ruined our
Well, but think about it. I'm working at Golden State Sports Medical.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday and Thursday, my father
Takes a while.
is in the office. He goes to satellite offices all around the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Then he goes out to lunch with Lorena every Tuesday and Thursday during lunch hour. Business. Then he hires his son. He has Lorena hire his son, Kevin Perlman, to work in the office. Kevin, do you want to come along with us?
Yeah.
Now, it sounds all great and nice. Now, Lorena's running around like Kevin's violating my space and privacy. And she's riling up the office of mass groups worldwide to hunt me down and kill me. And they're contacting every restaurant employee worldwide to walk around going, enjoy, 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 and other thousands of other similar repetitive provoking tactics to try to get me to like lunge at them in anger during lunch or something, like the rest of the tactics. And they're staging it like well, Kevin, you have a problem because these are triangle relationships and you're violating Lorena's boundaries and the stupidest shit that doesn't make sense.
Well, they invited you out for lunch, not the other way around.
My dad invited me out to business lunches in a business office.
So he made
There
it
is no, first of all, there is no triangle relationship unless he's dating Lorena. And if he's dating Lorena, it's not at lunch hours. And he's not inviting me.
No, to their dates.
My father's not inviting his son out. And even if it was a triangle relationship, it's still not anything that anyone would care about because they're playing the same tactic with Victoria Walker.
I don't even understand what a triangle relationship would be in that way.
It can't be. It's not possible.
Right.
And then they try it with Victoria Walker when she marries Matt Bombalaki or Michael Bialis. Right? Well, Michael Bialis wants me to redo his website,
Right.
so I come over to his house all the time. We become friends.
Yeah.
But Victoria Walker's there, and then Michael Bialis treats me like shit, but Victoria Walker plays the Aubrey Fisher game. Kevin, will you build a website for me? Kevin, will you do this for me? Kevin, will you do that for me? Kevin, we should start a company. Kevin's trying to steal me from Matt, my husband, who he bought, who he co-signed the wedding ring for.
Oh my god.
Right?
That's ridiculous.
I'm not going to say I didn't call her once, but if you were to do the...
Well, you didn't call
Victoria
her.
Walker called me 100,000 times, and maybe I called her 100 times. You understand?
And you weren't calling her to like give her.
No, never made any sexual, never did this, completely.
Perfectly.
And then they play this game like, well, because you're friends with someone that's the opposite sex who's married, you're creating problems and you did this to yourself. They say it and they hint it with Adriana Oliveras and my mom, but the point is that I knew Victoria Walker way before she met Matt.
Yeah.
I co-signed for their wedding ring. There's no reason why Matt should be mad at me. Now, if he's some German nut job, crazy guy, jealous crazy guy, fine, that happens.
Yeah.
But how does Matt Von Malaki have worldwide support with every attorney, the President of the United States, Congress, Senate? You understand?
Right. And you would think that since you were friends or whatever, that he would come to you first.
Correct. So that triangle relationship is a normal situation in the context of reality.
Yeah.
Right? But see how they do the half-truths? Okay, so the point is that back to Lorena, there was no triangle relationship. There was a father saying, come out to business lunches with us.
Nothing wrong with that.
Now, then my father playing stupid like I don't know what's going on in this Lorena. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So what my father's doing is he's playing good guy, bad guy, or he's playing, I'm orchestrating the events. I'm the real psychotic at the top,
Right.
and he's orchestrating the events to ruin my life. And then he's trying to make me think, not say directly, but think, you know what you did. Well, there's hints of triangle relationships and space, violating space. But I'm not going to tell you what you did, so you're going to analyze your life. And he wants to brainwash you to think that you did something bad while he hints about triangle relationships and you know what you did.
Right.
But you didn't do anything. You didn't even come close to doing anything.
But he's your dad, so you're gonna question, you know?
Correct, and especially at the end, where he's turning things around on you, showing that he's not on your side, that he's orchestrating it, that he's sitting in front of you at the office watching 100 attacks per hour by his employees, but he's not concerned that they're attacking you. He's only concerned if I react. Okay? If that isn't psychotic, I don't know what is. Okay. Okay, so that was the whole control. People don't talk about control. So how does Ron Perlman control Kevin Perlman to not get into studio photography, build adult websites, play pool, go to coffee shops, or be out with people at such places like coffee shops or people that he doesn't agree are good people that are anyone different than anyone with a medical degree? Do you understand? Okay? If I associate with a pool player, I'm shady and need to die. If I associate with someone I meet at a coffee shop, I'm shady and need to die. If I associate with someone I meet in church, I'm
Seriously?
yeah, they'll have a new excuse for each thing.
So, okay.
Okay, example, how could someone be shady at a coffee? I mean, yeah, there could be shady people, but how could...
That where?
You could try to use the pool hall excuse, which is stupid. It's like I live in a movie, but let's try a coffee shop. Are coffee shop goers all shady drug dealing criminals? You know, like, doesn't make any sense, right? Or people in Southern Oregon State College all shady people? Are people at University of
At the White House.
Denver?
I mean, anywhere you go, right?
Anywhere. The story just changes. The tactic just changes to twist and contort. Or they send someone in that tries to look shady to befriend me. Right?
It's no matter what.
Yeah. Like I have stories about, I don't know if I told you about like the fake drug dealer. They tried to have befriend me at one of the coffee beans in Topanga Canyon. I don't want to get too deep, but he kept following me around and wanted to talk to me and tried to make me one of his. And they played this game with the cops, like the cops are scared of him. And he was like, he was selling dirt weed that he was like, he's showing me it, that he was buying from people on the street. And I'm like, dude, why don't you just walk into the dispensary and buy grade A legal stuff? Right. You know, it's like, doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to buy this from you. They just walk into the dispensary. And it's all legal with back then with a medical thingy. So how are you going to make your money? Well, he's not. It was a scam, right?
Yeah, it was definitely not something.
Later on, about a year later, he sees me walking down the street screaming at the top of his lungs in anger, "You piece of shit, you're passing out cards," because the real reason he was mad, he didn't want the truth about what's really being done in my life, and he's obviously paid off by the police or cut some deal with him. You get the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Where are we at? Show us
I'll say this one quietly. Try to chop my dick off his dick so I don't associate with women or have relationships. It's sort of one of their hobbling types of tactics with the reign of Bobbit Escobar.
Oh my god.
Bob Sandler, my partner before that. Okay, so I had Mike Huntley was one of my partners, and Mike brought in Bob Sandler to replace me, try to run me out, and I think that they were sort of trying to hint about Lorena Bobbitt. Do you understand?
God. I get it. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
With a whole bunch of other things about people trying to break me my entire life, like Kelly Hatch talking about men breaking men's dicks and things like this.
What?
Oh yeah, and this whole breaking dicks things has followed me around from Kelly Hatch. The shit my brother was doing with Corvettes, like whatever. My brother's road rage shit. For my brother popping the waterbed in the house, sending me threats. They want to pop my bladder. His road rage shit. He tells me that he threw a VW onto a fire hydrant, breaking it. Once again, the water things. Then he's same type of thing with a Corvette. They sort of sparked a Corvette on wells, trying to break. And then they sort of worked on me. We're going to try to break you. Do you get the references? And okay, so and then they turn around that I'm out doing road rage things, and I supposedly flooded the house and this and that to cover up everything while trying to break me. Do you understand? Why was Kelly Hatch mentioning my guys breaking their dicks and then working on? Do you understand? Do you see this repetitive things that people don't normally talk about? Okay. Trying to make it look like I'm a danger to myself or others tactic to rid me of the world with the psychology community. Well, we pretty much gone through that one a million times over, right?
Yes.
And Christina Stahlinsky, Minnie on IRC, Shane Minnie, Paranoid on IRC.
What was that?
Skylar, Stephanie.
Was Paranoid though? Oh, that's the one you were talking
I don't know if
about
Paranoid's real name. Remember, I met and huge amounts of people.
Right.
Lynn Junkin with Mike Wexler, my brother's friend Mike Wexler, who supposedly picked locks and was working with San Diego PD. We're back to the break-in things. I don't know. I could spend hours and hours rattling off names.
You mentioned people wanting to friend
What?
me. What is that? Oh, sorry.
Okay, we're at Judge Eric Harmon. 5-day remand. Okay, so they get their bullshit paid off. Jury tampered, paid off jury who all claim none of them knew me.
Okay.
Well, from what you've seen all over,
Yeah.
do you think that's viable.
No.
There's no way 12 jury members can sit there and not know me. I'm 10 times more known than Donald Trump.
And you've made all these reports, and they're going, you know, that you've all this stuff. Like,
Correct.
So, yeah.
So the jury it's impossible that the jury doesn't know who I am, but they all stated on the stand that they don't know me.
Okay.
They lied on the transcripts, or is on the transcripts that they lied. Why do you think they want to make me look like some crazy guy who has no concept of reality, never had a job, is like Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory?
You've had all these jobs and creative businesses and all this
Correct.
work and all these things. You function like well in life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
They're trying to,
Now remember, on a court of law, it's about Jesus, what's it called? Beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Well, if Terrance takes the stand and flat out says yes, I'm in anger management,
And I can talk to Dinse.
I'm allowed to hunt down people I don't like,
Oh my God.
and Sean Dinse contacted me before I went after Kevin,
Right.
with Bailey laughing and snickering on the stand,
Really?
my lawyer refusing to show any of the what do you call it, evidence to the jury, where the jury's like, what the hell's going on? The one girl's like, I can't believe it, he's not showing me it, and the prosecutor is. Leaving out any type of honest cross-examinations from the defense attorney. There's going to be beyond any level of beyond reasonable doubt when they're going to make the convictions on these tiny misdemeanors. More importantly, what does that tell you? It tells me they were always going to throw me in jail no matter what. Correct? If I went out and spent the last 40 years of my life traveling, feeding the homeless at third world countries, they were going to throw me in jail no matter what.
You didn't have like a chance.
Correct. Now, I don't feel like going into the reasonings. They threw me into maximum security prison in the hole for 8 days for misdemeanors,
And then they say they
which
can't-
is off the record.
But they can't, and you can't find that, right? People say you weren't.
No, I have the IRC down in LA, and I had the paperwork and I lost it at the last minute. So I was just so tired. I kind of towed it around with me from all the jail cell thingies. But I can explain it visually so anyone would know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What is the 5-day remand? What does that mean?
Okay, so they convict me. And I just picked up on this a couple days ago. And then the judge asked me a lawyer question, which the lawyer should have answered. So Seymour was setting me up, and the judge was setting me up, Eric Harmon. And he says, you want to be sentenced now or blah, 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 something else. And I look at Seymour like, what's he talking about? Blah, blah, and he sort of explains it really quick, and I answer wrongly, like, just sentence me, whatever. Well, what he was asking was, do you want us to go talk about summary probation and alternatives to being sentenced and have another court date, or do you just want to be sentenced? Why would you ask the guy convicted that?
Right. I mean,
That's a lawyer question.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's even more important when we're talking about things like appeals or things on transcripts. The lawyer's asking me questions that he would normally ask a lawyer, and really the lawyer's not supposed, or the judge isn't supposed to ask me questions. The judge is supposed to ask the lawyer questions to keep me safe and make sure the right answers.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's a setup. They were planning it all along. This 5-day remand turns into a 11-day remand.
What does remand
It means I'm going to bring you back to jail because I think you could be dangerous. For whatever reason I feel.
Went back to jail for 5 days.
Correct.
That turned into 11.
Okay, so I actually make the wrong decision, but it works out in my favor.
Okay.
So now what I say is sentence me.
Yeah.
He sentences me. We file the appeals, which Seymour was actually filing before we ever went to trial, which doesn't make any sense.
Why did it turn into 11 days?
I think they wanted to put me in the hole and scare and intimidate. And they saw that I was talking to all the fellow criminals, being on it. And the fellow criminals were getting mad because they were told. I remember it states that Dinse worked with a lot of gang members on District 12 running for city council.
Okay.
Get it? Everyone in that jail was top-level gang members who've probably like killed people and things.
Well, it was maximum security prison.
Correct. They were all gang members. They all knew each other. They all knew who I was. Same game, I don't know you. And then they got mad. So why are you here? And I explain what the government's doing. And then a lot of them get mad, like, we don't want you talking. Working with Dinse. A lot of them I think had fake kiss tattoos all over, which linked to porn stars and things like that. And I'm like, I asked the guy, why does everyone have this kiss tattoo? That's not a gang member thing. You ask a lot of questions, why? Because it all gets defensive, right? Okay, so whatever. Those are for other conversations, but the point is, and then my family bailed me out.
They did.
They brought me back. What happened? And then the clerks pretended they hid some paperwork, so they brought me back. Well, after bailed out to try to scare and thug me quiet. Oh, because I stood up to Seymour. I said something like, "You piece of shit! You were always gonna do this." And he got mad, so they brought me back a day. Back to Pitch's Wayside. Yeah, after the bail was paid, and trying to lose the bail paperwork. What the hell? How did we even get? Oh, so the point I was getting at was right. So you're convicted. This is your sentence. I want to bring Kevin in for a 5-day remand. You're sitting at the desk in front of the judge. The bailiff comes up. I'm going to handcuff you. We're going to bring you in the back. After he sits me down, he says, "It says on the paperwork here that you cut yourself." Now I never saw the paperwork, and the paperwork disappeared.
Really?
I can't tell you if the judge ever wrote that I tried to cut myself in the courtroom or not.
You didn't. You've never
Of course not. And I went to doctors instantly after getting out and having them examine and write up paperwork saying there's no marks or anything. Okay, and put that up on my website showing. The point is, remember, this entire argument since 5 years old, Kevin is a danger to himself or others. Who speaks like that? Dude, common citizens. That guy in the green shirt, does he speak like that? No, he doesn't speak like that.
No, that's therapist.
I mean,
therapist.
Psychiatrist, psychologist, someone with a psychology degree.
Yeah.
Not even judges have psychology degrees. Who has a psychology degree that has been working on me the longest and would have motive?
Mom?
And
Motive. No,
mom, dad, brother.
Right.
All have them.
They don't have motive.
What do you mean they don't have motive?
No, I mean you're a good person. There's no legitimate reason to.
Correct, but that has nothing to do with motive.
What's their motive?
They don't have a reason. They might have motive. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They don't have a legit reason, but motive.
Yeah.
I don't like Kevin. I want to kill him. That's motive. I think Kevin stole $10,000 from me when he started building engines, even though that's one of my father's fabrications. I have motive. Motive can be anything that states, I have a reason I want to end this guy, rid him of the world, commit the crime. It doesn't have to be legit. It's just what's in his mind, and then it comes to premeditation.
What he wants done, yeah.
Correct. Does he have motive? I don't like Kevin. Did he plan it out beforehand?
Right.
Okay.
This one, I wanted to ask
Where
you
are
about this too.
Okay.
You mentioned people wanting to hurt you. It's the next one down.
Judge Eric Harmon. Oh, first, before Judge Eric Harmon, in all these jail cells, I was on security cameras the entire time. There's a reason I bring that up, because some of the claims trying to cover up with Starbucks was that I masturbated in a Starbucks, and then Coffee Bean took over, expanding on the lies.
And it's like, if you were in the bathroom,
They don't have any proof.
privacy. No.
Unless they're putting spy cameras in the bathroom, but even if they have spy cameras, they still don't have the proof, because I want to see the proof.
Right.
Hence why they're on the defensive.
And it's like a restroom, regardless.
It's a private room. I mean,
Which you weren't doing.
if someone actually did go into a Starbucks or a coffee shop, and I'm sure they do. You know what? I walked into a Coffee Bean about a year ago, and the guy was freaking masturbating in front of everyone, and they didn't even care.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah, they're all kind of laughing, and nobody cared. And
Inside the store.
yeah, it's pretty gross. I mean, he didn't. His pants weren't off. His hand was kind of down the pants, and but. Anyways, the point is that let's say someone actually does go into a bathroom and masturbates. Nobody's even going to know. They're not going to think about it, not going to care. And they pull these scams like Kevin's in there for so long. I've never been in a coffee shop bathroom longer.
5 minutes.
I'm a guy, I'm in and out. Although there was a point where I wanted to see how they would react, so I'd sit there and like read a book or something for 10 minutes to see how they would react.
Yeah.
But they were working on the excuse before that happened. Right? So I wanted to see what they would do, and I don't want to get into the mass attacks from those things. And it was actually linked to Tom Farley and a date with Maria where I was constipated, which gets even weirder. Yeah.
Maria, I haven't heard that name before.
Yeah, Latin, whatever. Okay, so anyways, the point is that if I have, because one of the arguments is I'm a danger to myself or others and I have no self-control, well, let me tell you, I've been in the worst of the worst,
And you have
and in the worst,
yeah.
people were told to work on me all day, just like everywhere else, constantly attacking. So not only are you in maximum security prison, but I don't know. I'm just gonna finish up this thought. Not only were they put me in maximum security prison, but the entire prison is working on you constantly as well. Think of the pressure. They still couldn't get any type of lack of self-control.
Right.
Okay, let's figure it out.
Can I run?
Okay, so just a quick note on Judge Eric Harmon. I found a YouTube, because I'm always interested in the background of people that want me dead and gone or not talking. Eric Harmon on a YouTube at one of the, who knows, judicial meeting summit things, states that one person ruins it all for 99% of everyone else. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that statement?
I've heard that before.
Where?
Like in school, I think it was. If you get like a privilege or whatever, one person takes it for granted or screws it up, then nobody gets it, you know?
Well, I don't think that's what
No,
he's talking. He's talking about criminal, and he's talking about
like
if someone's a gang member, he's ruining everyone's peace in the city. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, he's not using it. We're not talking about.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, and so going in to see Eric Harmon is like, hey, well, you're a troublemaker, so you've ruined it for everyone else. Well, wait a minute, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching. Oh, by the way, we just heard a alarm horn. So the second one, the other one's not on video, but the second one. Okay, so the alarm horn twice. Okay, so the point is that think about that statement. You're sitting there, whether you're in high school or not, and groups of people come up and they start mobbing you to death. You ruined it for them? Like 1,000 people come up with baseball bats hitting you in the head. You ruined it for them? Is your blood ruining it for them? The peaceful community while it's pouring out of your brains onto the sidewalk, right? It doesn't. It's not a thing that judges should say, because the whole concept of judges and juries and fair trials aren't making generalizations. It's about a event, an accusation against a single person, and if there's multiple people going after that single person, because a single person can't really go after multiple people, right? Yeah. And the whole thing was the scam, like, well, you're not allowed to bring in all these other things because it's not the person, your accuser or whatever. Bullshit. Right? It's not inadmissible. If I have proof that mass scoops... Yeah, what are you saying? Okay, like Bailey Bernard, okay? I mean, I'm sure there's some discretion up to the judge. What's inadmissible is not. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you from the standpoint of an honest judge, right? If you're arrested because you're accused, Kevin Perlman's accused of hitting Bailey Bernard, even though Bailey Bernard did everything first. But they arrested me, and then I have proof that I'm mobbed by 15 people within 10 minutes working with Bailey Bernard. It's not inadmissible because it shows that groups of people are stalking you, and you might even attack Bailey Bernard even though he didn't do anything to you because you're fighting off groups of people, right? So that is admissible as evidence. Now, if a judge wants to say it isn't, then he might not like you or something, right? Or maybe it's coming from top down. I don't want to stand up to Congress, Senate, or the psychology.
They'd be filled in on the whole story.
Well, like I said, obviously, Judge Eric Harmon, like everyone else on the planet, knew me, just like the entire jury played this game. None of us know you. And by the way, when he would die at the jury, he just said in 10 minutes, he's supposed to go through each one. He just said, does anyone feel blah, blah, okay, whatever. And it's a whole scam, right? Whatever. I don't want to go that way. Okay, so the psychology community also wants me to tell you things that have been done to me so they can try to say I did it to myself to try to cover up their crimes. Does that make sense? So the entire reasoning that they've been trying to force me into therapy, from the first moment my mother at 29 is giving me Susan Donner, Natalie Craw, who states if I don't take my medication, I'm going to destroy my life, is some kind of like death threat.
The second one you said?
I don't know the exact order. There's about 24 of them. There's Alex Lazar, who's mad at me for getting into studio photography and telling everyone I'm a fraud. Things that psychiatrists don't do, while pumping me full of like 5 medications at once.
What were they? Well, we don't have to go into details. I'm just like, what were they giving you? You know?
It's been so long. Seroquel, risperidone, Ngiatang, and 100,000 other, probably all at the same time. But at no point will they address the issues to solve the problem. Playing this stupid moron game that you can't control others and you can't control your surroundings from textbook stupidity that they're trying to turn into absolutes. Right? Let me tell you, if you walk outside your house and 1,000 people show up with crowbars trying to bash your skull in with a crowbar,
And you take your meds.
no med's going to help it, and you better try to figure out how to deal with the situation before you stop breathing. It's that simple. And to sit there and spout that you can't control others and accept your death and pop some pills is the same thing Adolf Hitler would tell you while dragging you to the gas chamber.
Well, and, you know, like I asked you before a long time ago, like, did things, like, slow down when you took the medication? Because that's what they wanted.
No, it didn't.
And it didn't.
It didn't. It did not change. And that's what I thought. I thought maybe they'll lay off once they got what they wanted, right? So what is it they really wanted?
That just is like,
Death, incarceration for life.
it's like you do what they say they want you to do, and still
Correct, because so you have to break it down into what the agenda is and what the motive is. Kill someone.
And the side effects, was it like bad side effects too? Was it to like just...
Oh my God! Some of them I slept 20 hours a day. Some of them, one gave me this crazy anxiety, like I was shaking, like I think that might have been Ngiatang or something. I don't know, but not one of them I felt good on. Not one, and not one of them solved the problem of people attacking me in anger and rages. There is no medication for that.
Were you hoping, like, if you took the medication that they would, just so you could have some relief for a few minutes? You know what I mean? Because, like you said, you were thinking that maybe they would do that if you did what they wanted or whatever.
I was in an extreme amount of pain in the first 5 years, like I told you before, like 5 years of pressure headaches. And for a while, I was thinking this could help and not. And on some occasions, it helped a little. On one things, it made everything else worse. Or there was no cure because you never could function correctly because you're just constantly under attack, and there's no.
Are you using this?
Oh no, go ahead, take it.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine.
No, that's okay.
That's fine. There's no cure because there's no cure for being hunted and killed. You know, it's just that simple. Okay, now we don't need to bring stupidity from like Green T. Phillips, prosecutor, or anyone else into this. We're talking about reality here, and the reality is that people don't get together, mob, torture, and kill people in mass groups. Period. Whether it's physically touching them or psychological warfare, gang stalking. There's going to be no good outcome no matter how many meds you take. Okay. So, anyways, no. No,
Do you
it's
think it was like to harm? Or what?
of course. What's the motive? I want you. Kevin's a danger. Kevin's a violent paranoid schizo who's a danger to himself or others. So I want you on medication, but now you're on medication and I'm going even more and more and angry, and the more you pursue your photography career or this and that, we're hunting you down more and more in larger groups. What's it really about? Common sense. By deductive reasoning. Common sense. Well, common sense tells you that if someone wants you to take medication and you take medication and they keep coming after you with larger and larger groups, then it sure as hell isn't about you being healthy or on medication. And why are people coming after you in larger and larger groups trying to make you look crazy to put you on medication? because then you don't need medication in the first place. Okay, so by deductive reasoning, we want to off you. We want to rid you of the world, whether you take medication or not. Common sense. It doesn't take Einstein to know that. It takes your basic high school degree of a 10-year-old. The body isn't built to sustain horrific. We're talking 100,000 to 1 million provokings per day if you really want to do the math and add it up, which sounds crazy, but it's actually going on. Some more aggressive, some more subtle. Think about that. Your body cannot sustain constantly being tortured to death mentally like that. You're going to develop physical problems. You're going to gnaw your face off. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're going to develop social tics, or not social, facial types of tics.
It's just that so much like tension, stress, pressure, pain all the time.
Yeah.
The body is, it's gonna come
Yeah, you're going to start. It's like someone that you're. If you had 100,000 people whistle at some guy per day, he'd probably chew his face off. Do you understand? Okay, it doesn't matter what medication you take. Stop fucking whistling, right? It's like, stop sending me the high-pitched noises, whatever. Because the body fights off things it doesn't like, and we're all built genetically the same, somewhat. And if I keep jabbing Brittany in the side with a knife, I don't care who you are, the body's going to react saying, I don't like this. Okay, so the point of gang stalking is if 40 people per day walk by you whistling and 100 people per hour see you and park their cars backwards and honk their horns in 2s and 3s, your body mentally is rejecting the stalking operations, and therefore you're going to develop all sorts of different pains, whether you get used to them or not. Maybe you get used to it and get numb, and then you chew your face off. Okay? So the point is, there is no cure, there is no medication. There's just die or put a stop to it and try to normalize the situation. Now, to the next question, which is relevant. The psychology community also wants me to tell you things that have been done to me, or how I feel, or my reactions, so they can try to say I did it to myself, I'm crazy, to try to cover up their crimes and figure out ways to lock me in jail cells or mental institutions, incarcerate me for life, make me look like a public nuisance, someone who doesn't fit in society or shouldn't be in society.
You mentioned that before.
Correct?
How your mom
So,
said that you have to tell everything.
so, and not to put you on the fence, what they want you to do is ask me the questions you just asked me, not trying to be mean,
No, it's okay.
and then you to go, these things aren't happening, and Kevin is crazy and he needs to be institutionalized. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying.
Okay?
No, I just was talking about your mom.
But that's my point, is the entire operation since 5 years old is to say, Kevin, you have a problem, and so we need to put you in a mental institution. Okay? So now we're going to create the problem, and lie, you're imagining it, so you need to be put in a mental institution with my brother running around saying, Kevin, you have a problem. Do you understand? Okay? So the entire reasoning is eradication, and the entire reasoning, this is a more direct example. If I keep running up, slicing on you with a knife from behind every day, and then I run up to you and say, you just developed a rare disease of bleeding to death, so we need to put you in a hospital or mental institution, and you shouldn't be running around the streets because hospitals aren't healthy, or being out in public isn't healthy for you because you keep bleeding to death, is the same direct analogy as gang stalking. Example, every time you go to coffee shops, mass groups come into coffee shops stalking you, and you're getting angrier and angrier, and you're deviating from normal life and getting things accomplished, and then like your friends like Tom Farley will lie and say, well, Kevin, if coffee shops are such a burden to you, why do you go? You're crazy. You're crazy, you have OCD, blah, blah, blah. Well, I have tons of lawyers making up the same lies. Well, it doesn't matter if someone's doing these things to you, you still suffer from this. It does matter, that's the entire point.
It's like if these things were not happening to you, then you wouldn't fight.
Correct. If I'm walking around punching random people for no reason, then I'm probably a violent paranoid schizo. if every teacher I have says, Kevin, punch that student, I'm not a violent paranoid schizo. And let's say after 47 years, I punch someone, even though I haven't, they got what they wanted after 47 years. See, Kevin's a violent paranoid schizo because he punched someone, and it doesn't matter that he was provoked. Sure it does.
Right. You're saying that you're making this up, blah, blah, blah. Why on earth would anybody make this up intentionally on purpose and live the way that you have to live?
Well,
You know?
well, Corinne T. Phillips, and with their worldwide groups that don't know me supposedly say it's about making money. On the stand, Corinne T. Phillips, Kevin, is your website about making money? That's like what.
Are you joking?
Thank you. Wait. Say it again.
I said, are you kidding? It's like,
I looked at Corinne T. Phillips on the stand. By the way, I shouldn't have been on the stand, so you might want to ask Seymour Amster why he wanted me on the stand so bad, even though he's trying to lie and say that I wanted to be on the stand. I looked at Corinne T. Phillips and I was like, I don't see how that's possible. Well, Papa Beds? Papa Beds. That's their only way they can...
what's that?
You know how sometimes you go to a website and a little pop-up window like, hey, go buy this or something.
No. You're not going to go...
So am I going to make like $100 a year on pop-up ads? And I'm going to buy my mansion, my $1 million mansion with pop-up ads I make under... Yeah. Yeah, all day and I have to pass out cards on cars parked backwards, something like 5,000 a day, while trying to go to a simple place somewhere down in LA or whatever, and I get deviated from any type of normal life, and they try to make it like, hey, this is the life you want, and you're trying to make money. It's like, are you kidding me? That's like talking about some Jew bleeding to death, thrown in a pit from a Nazi, crawling out bleeding to death, and they're going, you just want to make money by crawling out of that pit because you want to become famous, right? They're insane.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You're spending more than you make on Papa Bad's having to do all this anyway.
Yeah, that's why I told her on the stand. She said, don't you think that the taxpayer money of having to clean up cards or paper or whatever? And I was like, well, what about my money? What about the money I have to spend on advertising, leave me alone or whatever? These people won't stop hunting me.
Why would you do this for fun? I don't get what their reasoning is. Like, clearly this is not a choice that you chose. You know?
Okay, so now take your common sense and break down the real reason you think they're doing it. You don't understand why they would do this, so why do you think they would really do it?
I mean, like, there's no other reason.
Just
I don't know.
No, repeat it. Repeat it.
Inflicting harm or pain or making you manipulating someone.
Or stopping me from
Living a happy life.
and
Talking.
talking.
From everything.
Kevin knows too much. Example. Why did the United States government say that Edward Snowden is a hacker and he's some low-level, no-brain guy that doesn't know anything? And
To cover it up what you really think.
correct. Because they don't want those government secrets out in the open. They don't want people knowing what they're really doing. Capable of doing. They don't want mass hysteria in the name of our government or insane, which they are. Mass hysteria, or remember, in the government's eyes, Edward Snowden says it himself. The government pitch for the greater good and terrorism, and then they go out and they build terror networks for our own people. And when they're pitching, we want to stop terrorism, you're not thinking they're doing demented things like collecting everyone's detail by detail. You're thinking they're putting in missile defense or something, right? The point is that while Edward Snowden programmed half these systems, he's coming forward going, this is insane. He's talking to his coworkers going, this is insane. The government's going, Edward knows too much, threaten him, blackmail him, use our systems that are for the greater good and to stop terrorism, we're going to hunt you and terrorize you. And he supposedly realized that very quickly and took what he could and fled to Russia and got to the news people and exposed them because he knew it was over for him, and he states that he would never have even had a public trial because of FISA he would just be thrown in a closet and disappear. Okay?
That's why he had it.
Yeah. And they're pitching he's this crazy guy, blah, 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 who knows what, right? And he's an enemy of the state, and he's a... Well, technically, I guess he is an enemy of the state, but he's a fucking hero.
How
What?
were they able to release that?
Well, the press released the information before the movie. Oh, you mean the biography movie?
Yeah. I mean,
Because it's your First Amendment freedom of speech.
But I mean, like, I'm surprised that they allowed it to be released, you know what I mean? Or maybe
Well, they
I'm
can't stop it. It's public information. Example. Okay, let me explain it. Edward Snowden is bound by a government contract saying he cannot divulge any government information.
Oh, but once it's out, then everybody.
Also, on that note, I'm not a government employee. I'm the example of what Snowden came forward about. I'm not bound by any contract. I have the First Amendment freedom of speech, even though they won't let me talk, which makes their crime much bigger. And me, I've done nothing wrong. Edward Snowden has committed a government level, high level crime on paperwork by doing the right thing. He's a hero. He sacrificed his life. But the press has not signed a contract.
Okay.
Edward Snowden signed a contract.
Right.
Edward Snowden releases the information to the press televises it. Edward Snowden is out of the country. He's protected by international law, but he can never come back to the country.
What is it called when they're protected or
I don't remember the terms of...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, granted, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, the point is that he's not going to come near the U.S. anymore because the high-level government people who believe in things like the ends justifies the means and will kill 100 billion people to get what we want are going to come after him as an enemy of the state. Okay? Kevin Perlman does not fit that criteria. He's some average private schmo that woke up finding out that he's involved in these operations. He's a target of these operations. Does that make sense? So the point is that they want me to go to a psychiatrist and say, I'm crazy and I see things that aren't there and I'm in horrible pain, and they're going to say you're crazy and you're a danger to yourself or others, so now we want to put you in a mental institution.
Here's the thing about that. If you're a danger to yourself or others, there has to be like evidence of that, and you've never been behind, you haven't been anything like that, and it's always a threat for yourself. So
They don't have grounds, but remember there's a difference between the truth and what people say and the people that have the power to do something like arrest you or throw you in courtrooms with lying judges paid off jurors. Do you understand? So the reality is not about right or wrong. The reality is about power and abuse of power. And how do we fight against abuse of power? That's one method, and that it's a complex question and it's a complex situation, and I can't answer. I don't have all the answers, but the first step is freedom of speech and getting out the truth.
And just a side note, like, if you were a danger to yourself or others, I feel like
It's been about 7 or 8 months.
So if you've been working together that long, by now I realize that, and I would have had to do something about it too, you know?
Yeah. A real danger, yeah. Like what criteria would you say, like if I'm running around with a machete or...
If you had like a intent means.
Okay, like if I told you I'm going to go out and do these things to this...
Yeah, if you're like, okay, at 12 noon today I'm going to go home because tonight I'm going to this person.
Okay, confession of a premeditated confession of a murder or something. Yeah.
You say to me, I'm going to go home because I'm sleeping next to me.
Okay. And definitely me, I've never done anything like that. Yeah. Let's just, because the lawnmower is just, I just want to...
I just said you're not a danger to yourself or others. You have no intent. You've never talked about anything in that realm at all about doing anything.
Correct. I just explained the situation and said that people need to be held accountable, and that's sued. Or their names...
Never physically
exposed.
And so I'm just saying, like, if that were a thing that I was concerned about with you, like, I definitely would have had to say something legally.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Okay,
I mean,
so there it is.
I mean,
Now let's just put this on steroids. You've seen me sit in public while being attacked. Now, what's your opinion about me? I mean, don't you feel like you've seen me? I'm just because of the lawnmower. Okay, we're talking about a serious accusation that I'm a danger to myself or others. You've seen me out in public from location to location being provoked endlessly. Well, not. She hasn't seen the real hardcore situations. She's seen on video crazy physical attacks. She's seen on video things like driving around the park with 15 cars and pairs of twos and other things. On video, she's been out in public with me, maybe 50 provokings in a couple hours, maybe. She hasn't seen any of the hardcore things that I've been through, like hundreds to thousands of people per day at coffee shops, people launching cars at me, you've seen the physical dog attacks on video. On each and every situation, how would you say my demeanor about self-control is?
You're very calm and collected and handle the situation way better than anyone.
Okay, I want to make sure this gets on the mic.
No, there's no aggression, there's no nothing like that. You never attack anybody, you're very calm.
Okay, and in situations of extreme fear, what have you witnessed?
You're still like, okay, this just happened. You're very matter of fact. You don't raise your voice or yell or scream or nothing like that, you know?
Yeah, and I have, but we're talking about.
Attacks. You don't shout, or whatever. Like, you know?
Well, I have, but that doesn't qualify as a danger.
No, I mean, if somebody spits on your car and calls you an asshole, like, there's reasons to be upset. You know what I mean?
Correct. And so, I'm not going to tell you that I'm a robot, and I have reacted from time to time under extreme abuse, but I've never done anything that's a danger to myself or others. I've never attacked anyone. I might yell at someone like, "You're a piece of fucking shit," and go.
If they won't leave you alone.
Yeah, and it's always I'm never provoking. I'm always defending myself. Yeah. Correct.
Let's start out. Like, no, you're not gonna do that. Like, out of nowhere, if somebody's provoking you or trying to harass you, you can defend yourself.
Yeah.
You're never like.
And every situation I pretty much walked away from, except for the things that don't count, like where I work, which you couldn't anyways. But that's not the same literal as someone attacking you. You know what I'm saying?
Right? You said behind you, behind you.
Let me think. He hit me 7 times. First one in the back of the head. He followed. He did not stop. He kept going over and over and over. And I was finally, after the haze cleared, I went like this, and he hit my arms. And I was lucky. I told this to a guy, and this is when Crean T. Phillips rearrested me as well. I was holding my camera, an older version of this camera, and I was holding the camera strap, and I went around, and I went bam, and I hit him in the side of the head. After 7 blows to the head, I don't even know if I should be saying this on video because the cops will be like, Kevin's lying, and we're going to arrest him. Correct. There were witnesses. None would say anything. None would help me. None would call the cops. I called the cops. He called the cops knowing that I called the cops. This is John Paul Naranjo. Cops didn't care. Well, they don't like you. Well, what does it matter they don't like me? They just tried to fucking pretty much kill me, right? Yeah. I did throw some water on him, but still, water's pretty harmless to physical attacks. You didn't see me hunt down and try to kill the guy that spit on me. You saw me drive away. Okay? Correct. And then, because it doesn't stop ever, I expose it. But, by the way, the lawyers refused to help me to sue the security company with John Paul Naranjo. They're all working together to cover it up. The prosecutor, Crean T. Phillips, she was making references about it in the court because you couldn't bring it out. directly to try to turn it around on me. Do you understand? All these things are being covered up, no matter how much video, no matter how much proof. Yeah, I was lucky. I stopped him. And I'm not really a fighting type person. That's probably the only real fight I've ever been in where I actually had to throw punches back and defend my... Oh, that and Bailey Bernard, but Bailey Bernard was after. That's the guy that followed me home, and he was putting his shoulder in me. He was screaming at the top of his voice. I can't use my... Kevin, why do you do this? Kevin, why do you do that? Well, his elbow is like this, and I'm trying to walk away from him for about 30 or 40 yards. Kevin, do you live here? And I said, yeah, you know I live here in the rest of the world because you're stalking me in groups, this and that. He throws his body against the fence so I can't... I put the key in the gate, he hits my hand out, hits the keys out of my hand. You don't think this guy has already assault and battered me like 100 times over? Cops don't care. So then I throw a punch because my life's at stake. Okay, what would you do? Let's. Okay, would you sit there and sing him songs and ask him about his family? But you're past that, right? You're way past that. Yeah. 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 Now remember, my father with Mike Huntley, while sending these people after me, paying them off or whatever, are saying, Kevin, you're not allowed to defend yourself. Why?
Something just... Was that your phone? Did you shut off?
I think the paper just flipped up.
It said, well, it was like a dee-dee-dee-dee.
Oh, no, that was probably not. Okay, so why do you think I wouldn't be allowed to defend myself?
They don't want you to defend, like, two friends. I don't. It's not 100%.
Brittany, a car's flying at you and the guy wants to run you over, you know? You're not allowed to defend yourself.
So you want me to...
Correct. Correct. Don't jump out of the way. Don't throw any rocks at the guy running you down. Don't do anything, right? Just die.
You're like, no. But that's not... It's like a human nature to, like, survive.
It's a human nature. There's also an us, you versus them scenario where if you call the cops, they might be there in a couple hours, but that's way too late because this event is less than 1 minute. I can't remember. Yeah, but what they do, I call the cops, then he calls the cops to try to cover it up, just like John Paul Naranjo. He jumps back in my gate, again, after calling the cops, because he knows. Why do you think he did that? Why did he have no fear about the cops? Correct. He's being paid off by the cops. Do you understand? This isn't a one-time incident. Whatever. This isn't a one-time incident. Yeah. This isn't a one-time incident. This is a, at that point, 15-year incident on a daily basis. You understand? I can read it like Braille. Okay, now the cops are mad. Kevin, why didn't you wait for us, which is going to take 2 hours? And why did you drive down to the police station? Okay, think about that from a psychology or human safety. Are you going to sport around? This guy just followed you home. He attacked you. He did all these things. And he's being paid off by the police. Not just him. Masked Dinse neighborhood watch groups. All doing the same things as you for 15 years all day and night. Okay, think about that. Do you think you have a chance? Okay, do you think Bailey Bernard's going to be honest in the first place? Okay, so they're going to arrest me no matter what, correct? And they did. And then I go down to the police station. I didn't have a lot of proof, but I had the photo of him on my property and things scattered. Oh, are these your cards? Well, who cares about the fucking cards? The guy attacked me. Right? But then he's going to make it into, well, Kevin, you're a public nuisance because you pass out cards and they don't like it. Yeah.
So it's okay for him to, like, push you and, like, physically, you know, assault you and all that.
Correct.
Because you pass out cards.
And then it spirals out to the truth, which they don't want coming out. Well, I have to pass out the cards because of these endless things, which is why I had all the proof for the courtrooms, and they knew it. but they've somehow managed to pay off all the attorneys to not bring in the full story. Imagine that. Detective Angela Stewart and the Bye-Byes. Okay? Do you see, if these are honest people, why do they have to contact everyone in the country telling them not to help me? Correct.
They wouldn't have to tell people something.
Anything.
At all.
Yeah.
They would have to lie.
If it even got to a courtroom, I would spew out 10 terabytes of proof that this guy's involved in a mass conspiracy and it'd be over, and it never would have gotten past pre-trials because the judge normally would say, I don't want anything to fucking do with this because my name's at stake and Kevin's being hunted by 100,000 people a day. Right? Just check out the red and black here, park backwards. And also we have a Terrance Scroggins Miata here. Oh no, that's a Mazda. Yeah, Mazda Miata. Okay, so not the real Terrance Scroggins, a double with a black car. Terrance is green. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. Today's was a little longer, and yet we still really didn't get to the Golden State Sports Medical Office. You can see how complex this is, and I want to veer away from Terrance Scroggins court bullshit because once again, that's all distractions because my father's paying off these people to try to stop me from talking about what happened in his office, which links to earlier and earlier events, which are really more important because all these are distractions and cover-ups to divert me into talking about things with question versus things that are just totally unacceptable, like Quigley telling me to punch Paul Schaefer for no reason, for set me up and things like that, right?
So, okay. So on Friday, we'll talk about
Yeah, okay, so the names start coming up on the top of the list here, like Shanna Bryan Seva, George Escobar, Lorena Escobar, Alita, Brandon, Adriana Olivares, Lenore Calderon, Denise, Patty Guggen, Patricia Vilas, Tony Montilla, Elsie Sandoval, Fernanda Simi, and there's really about 22 others just in the office alone, all connected with the entire local areas. Thousands of cars per day parking in that parking lot alone, those parking lots for 14 years. Police cars parking in the parking lot in strategic ways to send me hidden messages showing that the police are involved in these mass stalkings. Because really we can obsess on the did you or did you not and Kevin you're a liar about Terrance Scroggins, even though it's blatantly obvious by now. But I think more importantly is really showing the escalation to why my father had to pay off Dinse and Terrance Scroggins and those connections. You understand? Because they don't want me talking about the past and they want to play these obsession games. Well, Kevin's obsessed because he's focusing on the past. Well, yeah, well, let me tell you, the past keeps happening every couple minutes to me and related events linking back to those like Tom Farley from 8 years old who doesn't want me talking about then, trying to silence me now. Even if I were to pretend like this never happened and start a new company, and they still would be hovering over me going, you don't talk, and in a moment I think that you might say something, you're a dead man, which is how this really starts at 29.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. We have to go, but for example, after Mike Huntley flipped out and you're a dead man with the police, I went to Starbucks writing business plans on a piece of paper, trying to start new companies. I started several new companies. I started Tweet Studio. I started, I think, the Art Connection. I started another one which I changed the name to Vibester, which were all, Vibester was kind of like a build your own website database system, like a hybrid of MySpace and build your own website, which catered towards the person who has no technical knowledge, like the Facebook users, to JavaScript and web developers and graphic artists. So it was supposed to cater towards the no-brainer to the highly sophisticated programmer that could customize and build extreme complex MySpace level systems, which had all sorts of communication and social tools and integrating things with the music industry and artists like photographers or painters. I only got a tenth of the way through it and hiring hundreds of programmers, and they were mad at me for writing on a piece of paper thinking I was writing about them. Do you understand? We think he knows. We think he might talk while he's doing other things. We're going to hunt him down. It didn't matter if I deviated my focus from what these people stalking me versus, yeah, they were coming after me no matter what, from the simple fact he has enough information in his head, we're going to exterminate him with the police and government. Yeah. So, no, and I still can't. Yeah.
Those are all like great ideas, like building all these ideas.
Yeah, these weren't small websites. These are websites that required 10 to 40 programmers and across multiple years of development. And my father would play these games like, you're crazy and you have OCD because you can't just hire one programmer.
You can't just hire one programmer. How would that work out? Right? For something that large?
Correct, it wouldn't. And they always have some cover-up excuse. Well, you demand extreme and you things that don't make sense. In today's internet reality, you have to do something larger. You're not going to survive. You have to do something different or you're not going to survive. It's going to take a lot of work, just like Mark Zuckerberg. He started by himself, but instantly started hiring people, moving into houses, hiring programmers.
Right, that's what you need to do.
Right? You got to do what it takes to make it happen. And when you have crazies following you around saying you hired more than one programmer, so you have OCD, and we're going to stop you because you're a danger to yourself or others, it's not about psychology. It's about stopping you from succeeding in life. And then it would skip with my father asking weird copyright questions about music and trying to figure out ways that I'm going to destroy my own life or weird things like this, right? Before it ever happens, like everything else. Okay, so that's it. Looks like it's about 2.5 hours, maybe longer.
What time is it? 1? I got
My
10,
watch.
11, 3. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 3. I don't know what time. Whatever. Who cares? Okay, so next time we still haven't really gotten where we need to get, but next time, okay. So that's it. Bye for now. Oh, and by the way, there wasn't a super lot of the stranger stalking. There was a few things, but not
really.
like before. And that fluctuates. So anyways, okay, so there it is. Okay, so me and Brittany are about to leave, and we were just talking, and we were noticing some things going on in the parking lot now that we're about to leave. And actually, Brittany, I started in kind of talking about it, but Brittany noticed a lot more than I did. And I sort of want to just regurgitate what you just saw, what we're witnessing right now, Brittany. And I'm going to point the camera. What you see that they're saying I'm too hypersensitive and it's not happening.
Well, you definitely notice this now. Well, I do, you know.
Well,
like
you said it to me though. This time. Okay, so just slow down, break it down. What are you witnessing in the parking lot after about 10-15 minutes as we're leaving? People showing up doing specifically.
Walking backwards.
Okay, we have specifically, talking specifics.
Backwards. Red, right?
Well,
Is that what you mean?
2
by
reds.
specific? Yeah.
2 reds
Right
in pairs
there.
of 2s.
Right there.
Okay, what else?
License plates after you pointed out that first 22 or what the 22.
Okay, so I pointed out, I made a statement that yesterday groups of people were following me around with the license plate ending in 77, Friday parking at the Jamba where we were talking, and then another one later that day. Okay, so
99.
so now how many ending? That was 99.
Yeah.
Okay, how many plates ending in 22?
1,
Point them out.
2,
Come on.
3.
Okay, which cars?
That white one over there.
Okay, we
The
have
Honda.
this red car backwards by the other red car in pairs of 2s.
Audi.
The Audi here, 22.
Over there where those people are walking, the 22 on the white Honda.
There is a white Honda back here ending in 22. There are 2, a black forwards Audi, a gray backwards Audi. Brittany just said a 99 which may or may not be, drove by. If we see,
now I'm looking for all these double numbers.
if we see groups of 9-9, then it will be past the coincidences.
Yeah.
Also, as we hear more of the higher rate, okay, just to notice on my video yesterday about the groups of Jeep Rangers following me around, there's a yellow and black one backwards. What else? We're just gonna do a quick ending part of the video here. What does this guy have?
I don't know.
He looks normal. We also had a honk. Some kids come out of this, I think, Mitsubishi, go into Wildflower, honking the horns 2 or 3 times, and then they kind of looked at us talking about it and did a 4th, just like we saw Friday, the 3s and 4s. Okay. And then there were several other things kind of ramping up as we're leaving. I don't exactly remember. And you're also seeing as we leave, there's a higher rate of cars backwards from when I got here, except it was kind of empty. It was almost fully normal when I got here, but it was also empty.
Yeah.
So just on the surface, think of the manpower of the people coming by with the mental illness tactics. Now remember, these are things you don't normally look at until the gang stalking groups put you in a hypersensitive state.
Correct. Once you notice, then you can see it, all of it.
Yeah. And then
Paying attention.
some things that may or may not be that I know from experience.
Right.
Like they use 300s to follow me around now. This 300, that's the model. It's just by itself, so you would never know if it is or isn't. Does that make sense? But the more obvious, the 2 red cars backwards, these 2 red cars parking next to each other, like I have thousands in front of my house doing that. The 2 Audis, which are spread, the 22 ending in 22 plates, that's huge. I mean,
That's crazy.
statistically, what are the chances statistically that could happen?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, we all believe in coincidences, but let's be real here. Statistically, we got 3 cars ending in 22 right here in this tiny little area, and this types of thing happens every hourly wherever I am. And then we have 2 reds just happening backwards together. The honkings that Brittany sees with me every day.
Yeah.
I mean, in your gut instinct or opinion, do you feel that this is normal, unmanipulated? Who, I don't even know who did that. Oh, the 122.
Right here.
Oh, maybe as a guy inside. Do you feel that this is normal human behavior, or do you feel that there's some manipulation going on here?
Well, I feel like it's unusual to see all these things at all at once
And
in the same lot.
meaning?
Meaning I've never seen anything like that before.
So you're
it's hard to
saying you're not sure, you don't know.
Well, I mean,
Okay, right? Right? What do you?
it's just fucking.
You don't think that
How it took you a long time to like figure it out, but I'm definitely seeing it. Like, and it's like.
Yeah. Okay, and it's one of the 22s. Just
Yeah.
honked their horn twice.
And I don't-
You've now seen on video 2 people, or no, only one's on video. We've also seen later someone honking the horn twice. You see it. We see it everywhere we go.
Yeah. Just the first.
I
it's
mean,
the first time I've ever seen.
There's
like,
nothing
the
in
license
your.
plate.
There's nothing in your
No.
brain going. This can't
Weird.
happen by itself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sure, it could be a coincidence, but like, what are the chances of like all that?
Right. Well, what if we separated the honking in 2s and 3s alone?
Well, yeah, that's a lot. We see that every day. Like, see again.
That was just once though.
It's just, it's weird. No, I think like it's
Okay.
bigger than coincidence.
So if you're walking around and all of a sudden every day you see cars with 22
Oh, then I
plates,
would
and then maybe the next
definitely-
day it's 7.7s, the next day it's 9.9s, and you're going,
What the hell? Yeah.
and then it's more obvious, like 2 white Civics together, 2 blue Civics together, 2
Right.
green
well, now
Jeep
I'm
Rangers.
Sure yeah. Once you're aware of
Yeah,
it, then
so-
you're more aware of it.
So I sort of want the people to understand that the act of mass
It happens
groups
over and over and over.
doing it over and over. For me, it took 25 years, from 5 to 29. And I still wasn't believing up until about 29, maybe 37, fully aware of
Of course
specifics
not.
from
That's
people
why
sent in
we
my
do-
life.
Yeah.
The more it's done in repetition for your entire life
You're gonna notice
until
these
you
things.
notice. Now that can only be government operations. And so She's seeing it. Well, I mean, we're seeing it right now.
Well,
We're
yeah,
seeing
there's no denying.
the two Audis. Technically, I don't know if this is or isn't, but there's this Camry here. This is also a Camry right there.
I mean, these are
I can't
just
tell you because
facts,
there's a lot of
know?
Camrys.
Yeah. But like, these are just facts. Like, yeah, I see the
Yeah.
22s. Yeah, I see the 8.
Okay, so if you see this every
Every day.
day statistically, is that possible? I mean, the honkings and twos. I don't want to say possible. Is it possible based on normal people living their normal lives?
I don't think so.
So there has to be some kind of manipulation, right?
I mean, I can't say for sure, like you're saying, but yeah.
Like communication. Like if you see Kevin Perlman, honk your horn twice.
Right.
Verse.
Let me just lock my door.
Verse. Nobody knows you, Kevin, and you're imagining it.
Right. No, you can't.
What's your opinion on
They
that?
can't deny it. It's in front of their faces, you know? Like, you're not making this shit up. Like, you're not saying that's a 22 and it's an 87.
Correct. So what's your opinion whether I'm seeing things that aren't
I'm
there?
not seeing things that aren't there.
Okay, so you're seeing them, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and they're
Okay,
on them,
and you'll
absolutely.
agree that they're not normal, they're conspiring people.
Well,
You noticed it before I did. You
yeah,
noticed
no,
the
As soon
22s.
as I noticed it, then I noticed more and more and more. So the more aware I am, then the more I see it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So
and now we
it's,
come
like,
back to
abnormal.
statistics.
Yeah, statistics.
Statistically, if I go home right now and there's like 5 99s in front of my house.
That's not coincidence.
Okay.
That's not coincidence. There's no way.
No, it's it. Okay, so Brittany, just like me, I noticed the 77s yesterday going out to Camarillo, or Friday going out to Camarillo with Brittany, and then I noticed 122 here, and then Brittany noticed all these other 22s going. I didn't even notice it. I was focused on the 2 red cars backwards and things like that, and the horn honkings. Now we have another red car. Are they gonna honk? Now, me and Brittany just agreed that Brittany's like in denial, like I see the 22s, but you know, is that
It's the first time
possible
I've ever seen it,
to
you know?
coordinate these people with ending plates in 22s?
Well, I don't doubt that at all. Because of everything, like I've seen with YouTube,
Yeah.
I don't doubt
So
that.
what are the things you have seen that you know 100%?
Oh, well, all the honkings and the people showing up in patterns and all that.
Okay, so you agree that
That was
while we
abnormal,
can debate on the
though.
22s, that the
Sure.
clothing patterns,
Yeah. It's
and the what was it? Oh, the cars backwards, the pairs of 2s, the honking in 2s and 3s or more,
right.
are way out of the norm of how people normally behave,
Way out of the norm anything I've ever seen.
and
yeah.
that it's showing a conspiracy of communication among strangers based on something that they're being notified to do something for some reason, correct?
I mean, yeah.
Right.
It's like a flash mob.
Right.
You know, when everybody is like outside, nobody is aware that they're all supposed to get together or whatever, and then they all come together and like dance. Does that make
Well,
sense?
no, but they have to be aware. Listen.
No, that's what I'm saying. They communicate about it, but nobody else knows that they did.
Well,
Like,
listen,
all
look at the
meetings.
circles. I mean, that was the next question. I actually have this in my notes and we didn't get to it. If everywhere I go, stranger after stranger is honking their horns 2 or 3 times,
Right.
that means there's some kind of mass communication saying everyone,
That's what I was.
wherever you go, or everyone worldwide, honk your horn 2 or 3 times. And my next question in my notes is if everyone's told to honk their horn 2 or 3 times,
That's,
and I'll leave out the fact that this starts the next day after I accidentally honked my horn 2 times, then doesn't it have to be directed at something or someone? Example, if everyone's told everyone just honk your horns 2 or 3
It'd be
times for no
random.
reason,
yeah.
they're gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if you say,
If there's a reason behind it, you mean then people are more likely
correct,
to do it.
let me give you an example. At a concert, at a concert, we all used to go to concerts and hold up our lighters
Right.
on a universal language to show respect for the artists.
Like a, yeah.
Now they use their cell phones.
I'm just gonna start
Yeah.
this so I can pull it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
So if people are all told worldwide, to honk their horns 2 or 3 times for no reason, they're gonna be like, what the fuck, are you crazy?
Right.
But if people are told worldwide to honk their horn 2 or 3 times directed at someone,
right. They're
who
more
do you
likely to
who do
do
you
it.
think it's directed at?
Right.
I mean, it's got to be directed at someone, right?
Right. Well, clearly, like you.
Okay, there you go. Because
like-
why? Okay, so now we want to go to the next question. Why is it Kevin Perlman? How do we know that? Because these guilts, so I'm going to call them guilts.
Yeah.
These mimics, these guilts. Kevin tapped his foot by Aubrey Fisher. 6 years after that, people were why we're tapping. Kevin honked his horn twice, worldwide instantly. Now do this for the rest of his life. And this goes from thing to thing. Kevin parked backwards. Kevin put one foot on, or put his feet on a chair at a coffee shop. Every coffee shop in the world,
Kevin
someone
likes
sees me,
wearing
puts his feet up on a chair.
Green shirts.
Kevin wears green shirt. Kevin thinks he's in the military. Everyone follow Kevin with green shirts and camos. Okay? They're all reactions instantly to one of my normal behaviors, which they say are crazy behaviors.
Right.
And then they say, Kevin, you're making us do this to you because you're ruining our lives.
By wearing a green shirt.
Correct. Now we saw the horn honking note, or the note, is Kevin, it's your alarm, fix your alarm.
Right.
That's the cover up. You're doing this to us.
Right. Making you, yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
Okay, so this guy is in a green and black 2 that just got in the Audi with the 22 plate, and there's another guy standing around in green and black. Okay, so my point is, okay, so we're leaving the parking lot here. We were just talking with Brittany. We see our 2 reds backwards. We see our Jeep Ranger backwards with the yellow and blacks. And the recent Jeep Rangers. There was a second Audi here. I don't know if they moved their car. Let's see. There's another white Audi in these groupings. This looks like a whole new one that showed up. So 3 white Audis, I think, or 2 whites and a black Audi. Okay, so now the lot is full. When we got here, most cars were forward, but the lot was empty. So let's sort of video and document what's going on in the parking lot of things that are, aren't, may or may not be. Based on people strategically following me here to create mental illness. As we left, we noticed tons of things. So far, the only things I noticed were down by the restaurant or coffee shop. I don't see any of the patterns around here. Most of these look pretty random. Most of them are forward. There are a lot higher rate of backwards, which makes sense. But remember, most of the ones that are backwards are directed to me, whether they're in groupings or not. That's why most of these are forwards. We've had the police come in the lot twice checking up on me. Don't know why. Okay, we have kind of 2 cars back here towards the back, 2 reds, but they don't look out of place. Although one is an Audi. So they could have wanted these 2 red cars together. Just like we have 2 cars backwards kind of close. Right? So 2 reds, 2 backwards here. Well, everything else is a little more normal. Hard to really know for sure if that's part of the gang stalking groups. And it probably is, because, I mean, why is everything else here forwards, right? Everything else here is forwards. Minus a few exceptions. Let's just, gray Accord could be a coincidence, right? They're not directly together. 2 SUV-ish gray things together here now, and 2 blue things together here by Panda Express. Now, one of the things I want to note is that if people are randomly coming here or anywhere else, what they do is they park the blues together and they park the similar cars together as close as possible, right? So it's not necessarily we just followed you. It's more of a we're coordinating the pairs of 2s in case Kevin is around. Just like we have a Camry here and a Camry here. Now that could be coincidence because there's a lot of Camrys. Although these 2 reds, that's not a coincidence. The groups of 22s, not a coincidence. I'm pretty sure the yellow and black Jeep Ranger here, just like the yellow and black X-Sierras, groupings of X-Sierra, yellow and black X-Sierras are following me around. And more importantly, the video I did with all the Jeep Cherokees, or wait, Jeeps and Jeep Cherokees yesterday at strategic locations, which is obvious, showing that that's probably connected, even though I'm out in Agoura now, to these worldwide strangers doing these things, right? Hence why you saw the cops come in multiple lots following me around this morning. Okay, so as we leave, let's quickly do the McDonald's lot here. Did the cop follow me into? Nodding. But why was he nodding? He was being friendly, I'm not going to deny that. But just because someone pretends to be your friend or friendly or whatever doesn't mean that they're really your friend. And in my life, most of those people want you dead. So that's a little interesting, but not you can't really pinpoint it. I don't see a suit. Oh, there's still a cop here, which is interesting. And it's a female cop. I don't know why the cop is living at the Starbucks or the McDonald's. We're cruising out to the car, to the coach to go meet with Brittany. Let's do this thing.
Come here, baby. No.
How's it going? It's morning. Dog walker. We are two BMWs together from yesterday. We have a gray Accord here. So there's probably more Accords. And the white Altima right here by itself. So that's not enough until we see more Altimas. A lot of times, believe it or not, they do the moving trucks here to hint that they want me to move, believe it or not. Now someone's put something on my car window. Gee, coincidence. Or gee, what do you think? Especially after yesterday, them tearing off the bumper sticker. So let's see what threat message they've sent to me today. Right? Today, it's fix your fucking alarm. Fix your fucking alarm. Okay, so what that is, it's a cover-up. It's a cover-up. I get out of my car about a year ago. I accidentally pushed the alarm button more than once. Worldwide for a year, probably longer. People told worldwide. People told worldwide to honk their horns in 2s and 3s. Worldwide to make me mentally ill. Years. And then, after years of trying to torture and kill me, of things that nobody could care less about, someone puts a better check for other damages, or damages, I should say. So everyone worldwide tries to make me mentally and kill me because someone doesn't like me honking my horn, right? Now the cover up here, which doesn't make any sense, so you know the guy's a fucking loon and a murderer. Fix your fucking alarm with 3 exclamation points, actually taped, right? Yes, taped to the window, and showing that that's somehow supposed to be a cover-up. Now here we can see some spit. It looks a little older. Some spit. So also, if you want to break the situation apart, while the guy is spitting on my car and taping signs like you farted wrong and don't do it again and this and that, he's thinking in his head or something that that's going to cover up their mass crime spree against me, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm on my way to go see Brittany. I don't see any other damages. 2 days in a row, yesterday pulling the bumper sticker off my other car because they're angry about political statements about people stalking with NSA tools. And so then this, right, fix your fucking alarm, as if the alarm is somehow ruining everyone's life. And when they put fix your alarm, they're not referring to an alarm that's going off all day and night, 24/7. They're talking about one time, like a year and a half ago or whatever, I pushed the alarm. Here, let's see if I can do it right now. I did that. Okay, so that is what he's referring to. And they've done that worldwide now for, let's just say 1.5 years. I'm not exactly sure. Everywhere I go worldwide, we've had this conversation with Brittany, I believe last week and ongoing. And the cover up is fix your alarm. It's your fault. You're making us do this to you because your alarm is bad because of the noise you just heard. Right? Just like Aubrey Fisher hunting me with worldwide support for 6 years for tapping my foot by her. Right? I'm doing it to them. I've ruined her life. I'm a troll. I need to be hunted and killed for my horrific crimes.